Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, July 6, 2026. It's now 9 a.m. We're here for a special session of the Hunt County Commissioners Court. This time I'll call the meeting to order. We have Commissioner Money, Monroe, Smith, and Harrison present. I'm Judge Stovall presiding over the meeting. This time we'll have speakers are limited to 3 minutes and should conduct themselves in a civil manner. The Commissioners Court cannot take action on items not listed on the agenda in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Concerns will be addressed by county staff that may be placed on a future agenda or addressed by some other course of response. Does anybody wish to speak? Yeah. Carol?
Well, it's like pending litigation as well.
And, yeah, Karen, okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Carol Ann Davis, and unfortunately I rushed out of the house, so I left my prepared 3-minute speech. But I'm here today to mention that 5 months ago I came here and brought out some concerns as a independent candidate based from certain county officials trying to delay or oppress my candidacy. And as you would know, I've just filed an election ballot lawsuit, which I know I'm not going to discuss any of the details here. But my one overriding concern is the fact that you currently have Daniel Ray as attorney handling your civil matters, and his associate, Arnold Lucien, who I have named not as a defendant in the lawsuit, but and I'll just leave it at that. But my concern is Mr. Ray has shown some personal animus, I believe, over the last at least 2 years in my Public Information Act requests, one being a case that went up before the Attorney General where you misrepresented the fact that I actually sent a certified letter to your Judge Littlefield, but he represented a wholly different fact to the Attorney General, which if unfortunately, he was believed, even though I had a green card and I use it as an exhibit. Long story short, that factual misrepresentation aided you in not receiving a default judgment in my favor. But that's not the only thing. There's been many other instances, too. He once wrote that I was to never call his office. But yet, ironically, when I was barred from going into the county courthouse on March 30th with this shirt, which has no year, no county on it, your deputy was told me I couldn't go into the county courthouse the prior Friday, but I had jury duty on. So long story short, Mr. Ray was on the phone with the deputy. I waited in the sun for 2 hours and had a nice conversation with your deputy. But then all of a sudden he reverses, I can call him and ask him. But there's other instances with respect to Public Information Act requests. And bottom line is, right now I don't believe the county is in compliance with the Open Records Act because of the fact you want people to use an electronic form. You do not publish email addresses. And I'm going to be filing a formal complaint on that today with the Attorney General. But I will say, I thought maybe this was me being targeted. But after getting this book by Mr. Cass Wakefield, I see that it's a pattern of conduct. And I don't know the man. I've never spoken to him. And I haven't even finished reading the book. But I'll leave it at that. And I do have the Attorney General case number here on the one thing in reference that so if anybody's interested.
Okay.
But
Thank
Mr.
you.
Daniel Ray should be able to tell you, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Being none, I'll close the public testimony. No old business. Under new business, we have nothing for counting purposes, do we? No? Okay. So action item 1, fiscal year 2026-2027 budget. Commissioners, anybody got any comments before we start? Being none, call Richie Valenzuela, come present his budget. Richie here? Yeah, there he is. Thought I saw you.
Good morning. All right. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Is there a way to project it on the screen?
No.
Okay.
I don't have a PowerPoint. I just have a piece of paper. Everybody have a copy of it?
Sure, I do.
Yeah.
So, all right. So it's just one sheet long. Won't be too bad. As everybody knows, we've had a lot of growth in this county and the city is coming up. So this first little portion is just basically going to be about the population because it continues to grow at a rapid pace. Obviously, due to the growth within Precinct 1, which is the one I represent, I believe that services that we offer will increase tremendously. With the projected growth, Precinct 1 should benefit from adding at least 1 to 2 new deputy constables. It goes without saying that the increase will affect several items to include but not limited to salaries, uniforms, equipment, et cetera. Now, that first thing, this paragraph is just a projection probably in the next 3 to 5 years. It's not something that I'm asking today. It's just kind of giving you a heads up, and everybody knows about the growth, like I said. That's something that we may need to be thinking about in the future. Second thing is, upon reviewing the salaries from our surrounding counties and other county officials, the constables are the lowest paid elected officials and the lowest paid department heads that I can in this county that I'm aware of. And it's been that way for several years. In my budget this year, I am requesting some pay raises, not only for myself, but as for my deputies and for my sergeants. Currently, right now, we're making about $76,500 in that neighborhood. I'm requesting that we increase this rate for the constables to $84,241 to be competitive with Rockwall and Hopkins County. Rockwall County right now makes, anywhere from right around $98,000, and Hopkins County makes $86,000. I know Rockwall has a lot more people, but Hopkins County has about 32,000 population and are paying more than we are for this position. I'm also requesting certification pay of $1,800 a year as a master peace officer, which everybody knows that's the highest you can go. Not only are we required by statute and state to keep up our certification as a peace officer, we also, as constables, are required to have additional training as far as constable school, bailiff, civil process courses. So we actually do have a little bit more, we have more education, more courses that we have to be certified in to perform our job.
And those are requirements of the job?
Yes, sir. I'm also, as far as my deputies go, I'm asking for an increase salary for my deputies to be the same as any other deputy for the most part in this county. The comparisons I did, to be honest with you, is for the sheriff's office, because I believe that a deputy for this county is a deputy for Hunt County. We all have the same badge, and in that position, I believe they should all get paid the same. I also believe that I'm asking for an increase in my sergeant's pay also, because he actually gets paid again lower than the other sergeants in this county. The pay gap between my guys and myself compared to other departments it's really small. A lot of y'all probably don't know, that my sergeant actually makes more money than I do. There's just no pay gap between us. And some of it has to do with, he's been here a little bit longer, a little longevity and things like that. But what it boils down to, he does make more money than I do. Again, there's just no pay gap between the two of us.
Hey,
Now-
would you mind stepping back on the deputies?
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about, making them equal to the sheriffs. What would be the from and to? Where are they at today? versus
My
where you-
deputies right now are, their salary is $60,529. And a deputy pay is $66,985.
Are they like the sheriff's department deputies and work on the weekends and nights as well?
If we have to make arrangements, if something comes up and I let them, then yes, they can. It's not something typically they do.
Okay.
I mean, there's no, well, no, sir, they don't.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure on this next portion. I know at one point we weren't allowed to talk about one person's salary in public. I'm not sure how you want to address this particular next portion of it, and it's in reference to my clerk. I mean, I don't.
If it's in relation to other offices, clerks, I don't
mean,
think
I-
it's a problem. If it's
Yeah.
in relation to an individual, then it is a problem.
Sounds like you're talking
It's a
about the,
comparison to, let me just put it this way, compared to other clerks in this county, regardless of what their position is. I mean, I know the pay scale for clerks, administrative assistants, executive secretaries and all that, there's a broad span between the base pay and what some other people get, okay? My clerks, or the lower half of the spectrum, I guess, is where my office falls into. So I'm asking for that position to be increased also.
You
Richie,
got
do
one
you have
clerk or clerks?
Yeah, one or
One
two.
clerk.
One clerk, okay.
Single, yes, a clerk. Let me go over this. Yeah, it says if reviewing the budget per department, you'll see that the clerk is the lowest paid clerk there is, if not one of the lowest, I should say, in the county. For those who don't know what she does, I'm just read this little portion real quick. She is responsible for all the paperwork, not only that comes into from JP 1 and 2, but the other JP offices also. She's also responsible for the paperwork that comes in from the district and county clerks as well, and from out of town. Means that precinct 1 is the largest precinct. We received the most out-of-county and out-of-state paperwork to be served. Last year, my office received approximately 2,300 papers, which means that my clerk handled approximately 4,600 papers, which doesn't include any paperwork, any phone calls or walk-ins or anything like that. She also helps out with all the tax sales and paperwork. So with that said, let me jump back up here. And you had mentioned something about the deputies. In the past, I've actually have lost people out of my office. I had one deputy leave to go to the SO, which because he wanted to be, over in the deputy over there. I had one that went to the ISD, and actually had one deputy that left to run for constable, and all those left was based on pay, and they all got pay raises as soon as they left this office.
How many deputies do you have, Richie?
I have 3 deputies, two deputies and 1 sergeant.
Okay.
So, but I know everybody's probably asking and thinking about, well, where I'm asking for this and a lot of, pay raises and such. But I don't know if any other office or department, there may be a handful here in the county that actually has a way to generate more revenue to help, not even offset, but this to pay for these requests. And what I'm referring to is our fee schedule. Okay, the constable and sheriff's fee schedule for civil process. Last year, we did approximately, and this is with all 4 precincts, somewhere between 35 and 4,000 papers. Okay. That right there, if we would have increased our revenue, or I'm not sorry, if we had increased our filing fees on citations and evictions and things like that by only $25, we could have increased our revenue by about $100,000. Okay. We haven't increased our fee schedule in several years. I think 2 or 3 years at the most. It's always been the same. It's been 4 years? Okay. It's been 3 years, so we haven't increased it in 3 years. Being able to make over roughly $100,000 more revenue for the county pretty much pays for what we're asking, or what I'm asking for. Also, within the fee schedule, that I know we've never have added a tax sale or constable sales fee, a tax fee on that. We're also asking for a 5% tax on all constable sales and tax sales with a $2,500 cap. With that saying, last year, the tax sales that would have brought in roughly another $20,000. The fee schedule does affect everybody, I understand, but within the last 5 years, it's pretty much grown as far as the individuals who are asking or having the needs for the citations and evictions and things like that. The majority of the people are not private citizens of Hunt County. Okay? Majority of the evictions that we receive are from companies that are either out of state or out of city or somewhere other than Hunt County. They're big corporations that have bought up a lot of the, apartment complexes and a lot of individual investors. Example, the other day I went to a writ of possession, and the owners have Florida license plates. They're from Florida. They're not even from Texas. So by asking for this increase in the fee schedule, I mean, like I said, it's not going to affect hardly any, just maybe, 1%, 2% at the most of our, local citizens.
So you're saying that was an out-of-state owner of a home that was renting the home?
Renting the home, yes, sir.
Okay.
And we run into that a lot. They're bigger corporations, they're management companies, and they're not owned by, the mom and pops in Greenville or in Hunt County that often. There still are some, don't get me wrong, but the majority of them now are bigger corporations. And that's why, again, 3 years we haven't increased our fees. They've been the same. The interest rate, last year was 2.7? We didn't go up. I don't even know what it this year is, probably around the same. So, you're looking at 5% below the curveball already, not increasing, not driving revenue for the county. I know we're not here to make money, but we have to have some money to survive.
So, go ahead.
Why, Richie, I'm not trying to beat you up on this, but
Sure.
why today are you proposing to change the fee schedule? Is it because you're trying to justify the money for what you're asking for, or is there an actual need in raising the fee schedule, and what hasn't been brought before us before now?
A little bit of both, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I won't say who, but it was said in passing that the question why we haven't raised it. And, we just haven't raised it because, we felt that it was just going to stay the same. It's a good fit right now. It's still working. But with everything getting increased, then, we decided we're going to go ahead and propose to get it increased again. And it was just timing. It just happens to be that, what we're asking for, and we have a way to not even offset, like I said. This is going to make potentially more than what we're asking for, and it's going to put money back into the general fund for the county to utilize that extra proceeds, as you can say, for whatever they need to.
So I'm curious about that from an auditor's office standpoint. If they increase fees and he's using it as it's a way to offset labor cost, is there a way for that money to be applied to salaries?
The money just goes into Fund 10. It is generating revenue, and Fund 10 is the ownership of it. They independently do not get to utilize that for their office, but they are generating revenue for Fund 10.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And I forgot to be honest with you, this line item, there's a projected line item, and you may know which one it is, that in the budget, y'all do a projected of how much a department's going to bring in. I believe it's line item, it's in 201, I guess, the line item 201. And over the last several years, my office has not only met, but has exceeded that projected amount of the budget several years in a row. So that right there tells you, my office is increasing every year and bringing in more revenue than what is projected on the budget. The line item is 532-2400-201. Is that correct? So that's, like I said, that's kind of where I stand right now. That's what I'm asking for. I think it's not that, that's a good word. It's not that we think we need to do a lot of things as far as well, let me just reiterate this. I'll restate it. Basically, this is what we're asking for in my office. It's not asking a lot. It's just asking to keep up with the times, I guess you can say. And again, by showing a way to increase to make this happen without having to take it straight from the budget itself, we're adding actually to the budget and revenue to help take care of these requests.
Okay. Any other questions?
Judge, I'm just curious, when you talk about adding to the revenue, if went down the fee path and all that, is that something then that would then get baked into your revenue forecast?
Mm-hmm.
It would? Okay.
Yeah, but, the problem this year is, it's a problem every year, but especially this year. This is the first time in 7 years our tax base has not grown. We're going to have the same tax base pretty much. We don't have the final numbers, but it looks like we're going to be pretty close to the same tax base we had last year, which means we're going to stay with the same general revenue in our Fund 10 budget. So, the only place, and we've had a deficit budget for at least 5 years. We tried to get a balanced budget last year, and that didn't work out. We need to continue to work towards a balanced budget, given extreme increases that you're requesting without some kind of increase in revenue, and it'd have to be enough to cover that, because you're going to cover not just your department, that would be retroactive to a lot of other departments. So it's a real challenge for this court. I'm not saying for or against anything you're saying, Richie. I think y'all are doing a good job. But the facts are the facts. The money is limited, even though we're growing rapidly. For whatever reason this year, our tax base did not increase. And So we're kind of in a stagnant position this year. So anything we do this year is going to be a little tough.
Constable,
Yes.
when you're talking about the pay raises or adjustments, is that in addition to anything that, you know, I know this court is committed to, you know, since we didn't do pay raises last year with folks, to making sure we fix that as best as possible this year, try to. Are you talking about that would be inclusive of that, or is this outside of that?
I think it's including in it. If we get pay raises to what we're asking, I mean, what I'm trying to do obviously is close the gap on everything. So if we get what I'm asking and then somebody else gets another pay raise, I mean, we're just going to be behind the 8 ball again. I mean, that's going to obviously be up to y'all to try to help with that. Again, you know, I believe that every deputy is a county deputy. You know, in that statute, they should get paid the same. I know there's different things that we do, primary jobs that we do, but, I mean, we're still all deputies for Hunt County.
Constable, are y'all running, or do you have any work that's not getting done, where per se the ball's getting dropped, or you say you need more people, I understand that, but is there work that's not getting done right now?
I mean, there's probably always something that, you know, may slip through the cracks. There's, you know, paperwork that may have not getting delivered in a timely manner, sure. But I'm not asking, again, for more people. That is, before we started these years that all the 5 years that I've done it, the judges always asked for a 5-year plan. Okay, this year it's just written up different as the constable budget projection or request. That portion, like I stated, is within my 5-year plan because of the growth. I mean, I can't think of any department here that hasn't, quote unquote, in your words, dropped the ball on something. I mean, I've been with this county for many years, and every department I know of that I know of personally that has experiences, somebody's done something that has dropped the ball. There's nobody here that's perfect. So I'm not really sure what you're asking other than, did we drop the ball on something? Is there something specific that you want to talk about, or just in
No,
general?
I'm just making sure that, you know, no work was left not getting done, and
Okay.
and just ask like how much, you know, overtime are y'all working, things of that nature. I know you're not asking for anybody. I'm just trying to see the workload on your department.
Yeah, I mean, the workload, for the most part, you know, we're getting everything that comes from office done, like I said, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If we have to make special arrangements for someone that comes in early or stays a little late to meet up with somebody, we've done that before, okay? But we don't routinely, you know, go out on the weekends. I went out, the last holiday we had, myself, went out to serve somebody, because that was the only time they're going to be available. I didn't pull one of my guys in. I'll do it myself. It's not that big of a deal. So, we like I said, we push in 2,300 papers a year, and there's going to be something or somebody that's not going to be happy with what we do. I mean, I'm sorry. We do the best we can, and sometimes it's hard to find people. I mean, a lot of people don't want to be found when it comes to child support or AG or being sued. I mean, but we'll do our due diligence. We have other avenues to look up other addresses, other locations where we can try to find these people. And, you know, believe it or not, like I said, they hide from us sometimes. But, you know, 4 or 5 times a person sometimes that we go out on a piece of paper to try to find these individuals.
Richie, I will say, but I think it's you and Constable Benson send us the reports or do us updates on all that stuff. And it does help for times like this when you guys are asking for stuff to see what kind of workload you do have. So appreciate y'all doing that for us as well.
You're welcome.
So when the judge asked if he had any comments before we started, I should have said one thing, so I'm going to ask you a question, but it's really for everybody. I'll ask everybody the same thing so that I give you opportunity to, you'll be the one that doesn't have a chance to think about it.
Oh, I'll think about it. Just give me a minute. I'm up here. I'll think.
So first of all, I do appreciate you going through and saying, okay, I've got gaps I'd like to see closed, and here's some revenue ways that I can do to generate that. So you're thinking about how to get there. Curious on the other side, on the cost side, anything in this last year that you looked at that says, hey, if we could do this differently, I could reduce some cost? I need, if I had this kind of technology, if I had this kind of shift work, I mean, just any project, anything that you look at that says, here's a way to lower the cost of the organization, do it differently.
Nothing that really jumps out to mind, to be honest with you. I think my budget is pretty tight. I haven't asked for much at all since I've been in office, and I think we pretty much utilize what we received from the county each year. I mean, there are some things that obviously we're going to be needing this year that it's already on the budget that the amounts are there, and I think that would suffice. If we need to, we can move a little bit of money over if we needed to from another section. But as far as anything other than what we have already in place to run in my office, I think I'm okay right now.
Okay.
Would you be opposed to redistricting the precincts? Yeah,
I would.
Constable? I ask because, you got the biggest budget for the constables. We tried to look at when the redistricting happened across the county at the census, and we wanted to look at changing the way the precincts worked, because historically, what I've been told is your precinct's the largest because the DPS used to work out of the courthouse with the JP, and they didn't want to go all over the county testifying on tickets and all, so the commissioners at that time redid all of it, so yours covers all the main roads that the highway patrol patrolled and wrote tickets on, and that generated a lot more work, which is, why we got 2 JP courts for that now, because of the activity in those. So if we were, well, let me ask another question before we ask this one. Can y'all serve papers in other precincts? Can y'all share serving papers?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Certainly, yes.
Okay.
We do.
So,
We can.
you've got a lot of asking, and I know some of the other constables are asking the same thing. Is there a way the constables, without redistricting, could work together to more balance the workload? Would y'all be willing to?
That's something we can talk about, but I don't see, unless, again, if there's somebody that's not talking about it, an issue with, how I'm doing. And that may not be what you're asking.
It's not an issue about what you're doing. It's an issue about you've got a lot more than everybody else has, and it's just balancing the workload and balancing, the number of people. And would it be more efficient having it that way, or would it be more efficient? By law, we have to have 4
Correct.
constables, and by law, we have to have 4 JPs. We have 5 JPs. I'm just asking. I know the county's growing, but it's growing more rapidly, probably in your precinct than some of the others. More south than east. The constables in south and east are getting more than probably some of the others.
Right, and we work together. I
know you do something.
If something comes up, and if one of the guys need our help, or vice versa, we reach out. We work together. All the 4 of us do every day. We talk to each other. We, like I said, if I have a paper that needs to be done in precinct 3 or 4, we'll get it to them, and vice versa. If they're not able to, then if they need our help, it's not that big of a deal. But I think leaving it, my own personal opinion, I don't see anything wrong with it, because I think I'm doing a good job, like I said, and I'm not sitting up here patting myself on the back, but I just believe that it runs efficient for me in my own precinct by helping out when we need to be helped out. When there's a need, we'll make it happen no matter what.
So please don't think that any of the questions we're asking is about the job you're doing. We think you're doing a good job. We're just trying to find out, is there a way that the county in any area can operate more efficiently and keep fishing down those paths to find things. So please don't take it that, because you're doing a good job.
Right. Well, I appreciate that again. The thing that I see when you said redistricting is you're going to redistrict. Obviously you have to live in the precinct you run in, work in. You'll have to, I'm trying to think of it, if you wanted to make it like the commissioners, and I'm assuming that's what you're kind of looking at in a sense.
That would be the easiest, but that doesn't have
But
to be
then you're
that
going to have
way.
to have more buildings, you're going to have to more, probably split up the deputies and turn some of the deputy positions into clerks because you'll need a clerk in the positions. So there's possibly, may cost the county more revenue. I don't know how much you've looked into it as far as building and, hiring new people and reassigning the other deputies because, if you did that, I can't have 3 deputies. Somebody's going to have to go somewhere else.
We haven't looked at it at all. I
So-
was just throwing this question
Okay.
out. Were
That's
you
why we're
willing to
throwing it
have?
at you. 'cause
Yeah,
that's
throwing it
what-
at me to
Would
figure
you
out
have the
something.
would
All right,
you be
long
willing to
story
have the
short, I'm opposed to it.
conversation? Yeah.
How's that? I think,
We-
just keep it like it is. I think we're all happy. I'm not going to speak for y'all. I mean, y'all happy? I'm happy with where it stands right now.
That's fine. I was asking if y'all was willing to have the conversation.
We can have the conversation, but I mean, like I said, we help each other out. We'll take care of our own, and we just like we do any other department here in the county, we help them out too.
Okay? Anybody else got any other questions? Thank you, Richie.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Davis, you got a question?
Yes, I want to comment on Commissioner Smith. He asked an important question about if anything could be done more efficiently. In state law, and y'all can confirm this, and I'm not going to say it's the Bible, but now suits can be filed by email or notification in the publication that justices know about. So when you go and get a small claims court packet, it will just ask you for generally the defendant's address. But if you revised your paperwork and asked for the email addresses, and I'm not saying use that because sometimes people have multiple email addresses like I do, but that is one way that would cut the cost of having constables go out and have to personally serve.
Okay, thank you.
Interesting, thank you.
Okay, Matthew Reagan.
Here we go. Give me just a second. I got to give each of y'all some papers to follow along with me.
Constable 4. Figure out which one it was. There we go. Got him pulled up. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so some of this is going to be redundant from Constable Valenzuela, but we're here and I have a presentation on most of it as well, so here we go. The first sheet we're going to go over is the projected fee schedule revenue. This is with us raising the fee schedule on citations by $25 is what the baseline's going to be. So the Hunt County Constable offices as a whole are projected to process approximately 3,609 civil papers during the 2026-2027 budget year. This projection is based on a conservative 10% increase in civil paper volume and is intended to estimate the financial impact of increasing the civil process fee from $75 to $100 per paper. To ensure the estimate remains conservative, this estimate assumes that every civil paper served as a citation, which is the lowest fee on the Hunt County Constable's civil fee schedule, other than protective orders, which are free and account for a very minimal amount of civil process service. This projection does not include revenue generated from serving writs, orders, and other types of civil process. Writs, I believe, we're going to increase to $200, which is a $50 increase. And then also Constable Valenzuela talked about the Buyer's Commission, the 10% cap at 2,500. That will also be additional revenue. As a result, the projected additional revenue should be viewed as a minimum estimated increase. Actual revenue will be over what's outlined in the paper that I gave you. So additional revenue with a $25 increase on citations will be, between all four of us, it'll be on the very low end, $90,200. All right, so if you open the packet to page 2, we'll start at the elected official salary, just because it's first on the budget sheet. After reviewing the salaries of surrounding counties, as well as comparable elected and appointed positions within our own county, we believe that adjusting the constable salary up by 10% is reasonable. The proposed salary remains competitive while staying below the compensation levels of several neighboring counties. For instance, Rockwall's at $98,000 and Hopkins is at $86,000 annually. Along with this 10% request, we're also as a group requesting certification pay for the elected constable positions. You'll see this reflected in the certification pay line item in the amount of $1,800. That is for intermediate certificate, for me in particular, advanced certificate, and then instructor certificate, which I'll be acquiring by the end of this fiscal year. Any questions on that one?
Commissioners?
All right, moving forward. So this is kind of the big one on my budget this year, is the employee salary line item. With the retirement of our clerk at the end of this fiscal year, I'm requesting approval of an additional deputy constable position to replace the current clerk position within the next budget cycle. This request is being made due to the continued growth of South Hunt County and the increased workload placed on our office over the past several years. The volume of civil process service, court responsibilities, public interaction, and law enforcement assistance continues to arise. And further development within South Hunt County indicates that these demands will only continue to increase. Adding an additional deputy will significantly improve the overall effectiveness and efficiency of the constable's office. This position will strengthen our ability to timely serve civil process, maintain court security and bailiff duties, conduct community patrols, and complete daily operational responsibilities in a more efficient and professional manner. Most importantly, this addition will improve officer safety in South Hunt County as we continue to work closely with Sheriff Jones and all agencies within Hunt County. Some stats from January 1st, 2025 through January 1st, 2026. Our office answered 2,622 phone calls, assisted 1,325 citizens in person at the office, served as bailiff for more than 730 scheduled justice court hearings. In addition to these responsibilities, our office also regularly assists the sheriff's office and other law enforcement agencies through the county. For reference, the total number of calls handled by Precinct 4 Constable's Office through Hunt County Dispatch in 2021 was approximately 2,984. I can get the updated numbers. It's going to be somewhere close, if not more than that. That's just the stat that I had at the time when I was developing this budget presentation. Our justice court is conducted Mondays 8 and 1, Tuesdays 8 and 1, Wednesdays 8 and 1, and every other Thursday 9 and 1. Just to give you an example of kind of what I mean with the current two guys that we have, which is me and one deputy. Just last week, we got a protective order for an individual that was accused of assault on his wife, and those are pretty high priority papers. We want to get those served because if they violate the protective order, then they can go to jail and the protected party won't receive any more threats or get hurt anymore. We had a protective order that needed to be served. That was a pretty serious one. I was in court at 1 p.m. at the Justice Court bailiffing because the deputy had a flat tire. He was helping the sheriff's office out with something, had to go get a tire repaired, so he unfortunately he couldn't do court, so I had to do court that time. During that, the guy with the protective order was found to be at home, and I had to get a sheriff's deputy to come and help my deputy because I was tied up in court and couldn't leave to take care of that with him. We never go singular to protective orders because of the liability it could impose on us. So that's just one example of a million things that happen all the time. These court security and bailiff responsibilities are essential functions of our office and require a significant amount of manpower, scheduling coordination, especially while being able to serve the civil process at the same time. Further demonstrate workload being handled by my office, a comparison between Precinct 4 and Precinct 1, January 1st, 2025 through January 1st, 2026. Precinct 1, operating with 3 deputies, served a total of 2,198 papers. Us operating with 1 deputy served a total of 636 papers. When you break it down per deputy, Precinct 1 averaged 632 papers per deputy, while Precinct 4 averaged 636 per deputy. It's important to note, however, that these numbers fluctuate year to year. In 2021, Precinct 4 served 1,273 civil papers per deputy, while Precinct 1 served 751 per deputy during the same period. While our numbers are low this year, historical data shows that the workload has consistently remained comparable at times and often exceeded larger offices. So moving on to, it's still the same line item, but in addition to what I've just said, requesting the new deputy position, I'm also proposing that deputy constable salaries be adjusted to align with the current starting pay of the Hunt County Sheriff's Office at $66,985 annually. I'm further requesting a 10% cost of living adjustment for the deputies, bringing the proposed deputy constable salary to $73,683.50. This request is intended to assure our office remains competitive in recruiting and retaining qualified personnel while continuing to provide the level of service, professionalism, and public safety that the citizens of South Hunt County expect and deserve. If I get approved for this deputy position, my intention is to assign that deputy a Tuesday through Saturday schedule from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., which is an 8-hour workday. This schedule adjustment is designed to improve efficiency and consistency with civil process service. Implementing this schedule would allow the Precinct 4 Constable's Office to maintain operations and law enforcement availability 6 days a week, providing greater flexibility for citizens, paper service, agency assist, and just allowing us overall to be outside of the Monday through Friday schedule. A lot of times, people aren't home Monday through Friday, and having somebody available to come in on Saturdays is great. Do we currently come in on Saturdays if we need to? Yes, absolutely. I've done many of them myself. And
Matt, is your office Monday through Friday then?
it is Monday through Thursday, 7 to 5 currently. And that was mirrored off of the city of Quinlan being open Monday through Thursday. The JP was, when we first started it, only open Monday through Thursday. So basically all of government in South Hunt County is Monday through Thursday, 10-hour days.
Could you, take one Saturday or 2 Saturdays a month and work on that day, adjust your schedule instead of being off on Fridays?
I mean, I'm
Work Monday through Thursday, 8 hours, work 8 hours on Saturday?
Right. I mean, I'm sure we could. It just depends on workload. You know, some weeks are not as much as others, and some you can't even do anything but bailiff court, and that's basically it. Serve your evictions, the one that have court dates that you have to get to.
So if you eliminate the assistant in the office, you say y'all received 2,622 phone calls.
Correct.
How you gonna handle that?
The deputy, so there would essentially be a administrative deputy. Yes, he would still go serve papers. His primary function would be in office clerical stuff and court bailiff, which would free up the second deputy and myself to be primarily making sure we get all the papers served and any other duties we have come up.
So what happens to the office when he's bailiffing or doing something else?
Then I would be in the office and the other deputy would be out serving papers. Somebody's always going to be in there. Having three of us allows for somebody to always be in the office. Currently, we have people come in all the time to receive their papers, and if I'm out on the street or the deputy's out on the street and the other one's bailiff in court, those citizens have to sit sometimes for 30 minutes or to an hour before they're served because I'm so far across the precinct, or he is, or he's tied up in court, or I'm tied up in court. It'll allow for service to always happen no matter what, and for somebody to be in the office all the time that's a certified law enforcement officer.
So you're not eliminating the clerk role, you're basically saying the clerk is gonna be qualified to be bailiff as well and serve.
Exactly. So the commissioned officer that I'm asking for that clerk's salary to be absolved into a new deputy spot. So that new deputy, whether it's the new deputy or the current one that's sitting in the office doing the clerical stuff, everybody's going to be trained to do everybody's job. So no matter who's in whichever role, it'll always be able to get done.
What's the difference from the clerk pay to the deputy?
So the clerk currently, I believe, is 44 to 45,000. The increase from the 24 to 25 budget to this one, or sorry, last year's 25-26, would be $41,350 if we added a deputy. So does that make sense?
41 would be the increase?
40.
The salary would be 21,500 increase.
Yes.
From the base salary.
To the current number, but you're also
Asking for the raise to be raised to the sheriff's office deputies. Plus, if they get a cost of living raise, I would like it to reflect
So
that.
for that one individual, that one position, it would be almost a double growth. 40 plus 30, something like that. I forgot what the number was you said earlier.
So it would be, if they raised up to the sheriff's deputies and then a 10% raise, it would be 73,683. So
Compared to the 41.
correct. So the budget difference is 41,350 is what I got. It's there at the bottom of page 4. Hopefully I broke it down where you can kind of understand what I got going on.
Matt, I don't, you're saying there's 2,622 phone calls come in, there's 1,325 citizens that come in, there's got to be some paperwork being filed. It appears that's a full-time job. It must be. We've been funding it. You've been asking for a full-time clerical position. And now we're going to fund that clerical position with the deputy's pay. Yet all that work's going to be done by, to me, won't be as efficient when you may be there sometime, another deputy's going to be there sometime instead of a clerk that's there on a consistent basis and understands how that office operates on a full-time basis. How do you resolve that?
I would assume that anybody that's commissioned through the state of Texas to carry a pistol would be capable of doing clerical duties, no matter the time of day or whatever happens. I guess I don't understand what you're asking.
So we're going to pay more for somebody doing clerical work than we currently are?
No, we're going to pay more for somebody that can do the full scope of the job. Clerical work is only a portion of what
But you're
what it
still,
could be.
you got 4 people, but you're going to have one in the office nearly all the time that's going to be doing clerical work, whether it's that one person you add or if it's you sitting there or somebody else sitting there. There's always going to be a higher paid person sitting in that office doing the work, and then y'all have to communicate whatever's happened that morning or that afternoon or the day before or 2 days ago, because you don't have the consistency of people walking in or making a phone call and following up. So you lose a lot of consistency is my concern.
I guess I'm not following you. I don't understand what you're saying.
So if I call in today and I've got a question about a specific thing.
Sure.
And I talk to you, and I call back on Wednesday, I'm a little confused, and I've got more questions, and then I got to go back through the whole deal again, and you may give a different answer because you may have a different experience than the other deputy did. So we don't have any consistency there of any kind of communication with the public. And again, we're going to have somebody sitting there making more money than we got somebody sitting there all the time anyway. And I guess that's my real concern. We're going to pay $21,000 more, and I get that you're getting a little more service out of it, but you've got a lot more juggling to do with your people.
There's no confusion in between the calls that come into the office. We consistently speak back and forth no matter what. Every call that comes in the office, everybody that works under the Precinct 4 Constable's office knows every single call that comes into that office. There would never be any confusion for citizens about different answers. If it's a question that a normal peace officer can't answer, I wouldn't even say normal peace officers because we're all the same, but if there's a question that the deputy or right now the clerk doesn't know the answer to, I always get a phone call about it. And it's the same response across the board. We're never changing our answers to the citizens. As for paying more for a deputy to sit in that spot than a clerk, there's so many benefits. I could go on for 30 pages worth of benefits that it gives for a deputy to sit in that spot other than a clerk. If there's an emergency at the JP's court, if there's the situation we had the other day, I don't even know where to begin with it. I feel like it's...
If you have that emergency and you run to the court,
Sure.
or you run somewhere else close in town because there's a call, then the office is nobody will be in the office for the public. You're out somewhere, you can't get back to get there. So there will be times where the phone won't be answered and there won't be anybody at the office.
We do have voicemail that comes to my email, so I'm able to promptly respond to every call that comes into the office.
Unless you're right in the middle of a chase.
Unless we're right in the middle of the chase, which would take precedence over a normal call that comes into the office. Absolutely. Public safety comes first.
Commissioners, you got any other questions?
I've got a question, Constable, and it's just because I don't
Yes, sir.
know everything y'all
Absolutely.
do. But like, you know, I know like some police departments and stuff have reserve officers
Sure.
that come in and work just to keep their CE hours current
Absolutely.
with the state,
Right.
things like that.
Mhm.
Would that be an option that we could have some guys come in like in the evenings or on the weekends to work to help serve these papers?
It's a lot easier said than done.
Okay.
I've had reserves in the past. You have to find the correct person that's willing to put service first. We're running into a big issue in law enforcement right now with reserves wanting to only reserve for the department to go and work traffic control. And it's just a major issue with us right now. They're wanting to put traffic control and making their private money first before the department that they're working for's request, if that makes sense. So having somebody dependable as a reserve, few and far between in my opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe somebody will walk in tomorrow that wants to be a reserve that fits perfect. I just don't have that answer.
Yeah. What about a part-time employee to just work bailiff?
I mean, that would help alleviate a bunch. The court bailiff is, I mean, you saw what I just said. It's 3-4 days a week, multiple times a day. That's a lot of time out of our pocket.
Yeah.
For sure.
And to be clear, on your salary, you want to increase it $9,458, correct?
Yes, sir. 10% from where we're currently at.
And then plus, if we do COLA, plus that?
Yes, sir. Whatever is comparable to all the other departments. If we get raised up to what we're requesting and then all departments get a 10% raise or a 5% raise or a 3% raise, we ask that that be included as well.
Okay. And then you're wanting to move your officers up, $6,698.
Yes, sir.
And then plus the COLA.
Correct. So we want to mirror what the sheriff's deputies are getting paid. I don't believe that our deputies' lives are worth any less than theirs.
Yeah.
So you and Constable Venezuela both talked about the role you do in supporting the sheriff's department
Yes,
at
sir.
times. Kind of give me an idea of what level of activity that is, how often it is, what's the scenarios where they call for assistance?
I wouldn't say they necessarily, it just depends. It's a wide variety of items. And the city of Quinlan, wrecks that we roll up on, assisting with traffic control. A lot of times the sheriff's office, unfortunately, they're understaffed as well. They'll have one deputy in District 3, which is our area, and they could be going to a major disturbance at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning or right at shift change, and if we're there, we're going with them.
So you're
Thousands of calls. I don't
but
even
you're-
know where to begin.
So it's often.
Correct.
And
Yes,
so
sir.
maybe it might be more fair to ask the sheriff, but it's just supplemental to them in
Yes, sir.
times of high activity?
Correct.
Yeah.
If there's a major call, disturbance, assault, we're not going to your normal like horse being out of the fence or stuff like that. We're only talking about matters that would make the deputy's life in jeopardy, or if somebody else's life was in jeopardy, major calls.
They may appreciate y'all going out on the horse calls or
Yeah,
something
I
like that,
guarantee you
right,
they
Sheriff?
would.
Do you ever call them a supplement bailiff? Just, don't answer. Don't answer.
Right.
Constable, I will say thanks for coming in and presenting your budget. And
Absolutely.
I will say, as far as me, whatever we decide, if on raises, different things like that, it's not going to say that you're not worth what you're asking for or anything like that.
Yes,
It's
sir.
a lot of it's what the revenue justifies, and at the end of the day, it's what the job pays is bottom line.
Sure.
And we're unfortunately, every department across the county is, I know I get crucified for comparing my precinct guys to sheriff's department, but I've got guys over there that are way underpaid, and there's 4 construction companies on the highway that
Sure.
they pass every morning that can stop and make more money there.
All the way
And so-
across.
So every department is having the struggle and dealing with, we need to pay everybody more money.
Absolutely.
And I understand the budgets are tight, groceries are up, gas is up, everything. But the general public, a lot of their jobs are not getting, $9,400 a year raises and stuff,
right.
And so that's what we're having to look at. And so when we make these tough decisions this year, and this goes not only for you, it's for every department, we have to be fair for not only the employees, we have to be fair for the taxpayer.
Absolutely.
And, but with that being said, sincerely, I do appreciate what you do for us.
Absolutely. So the majority of the rest of it is just stuff that will reflect if we get that deputy position, like training, obviously. Training, I left the same just because the way our cycle works, I won't need certain training that year. If a new deputy's given to us, then I can use some of that budget to get him the required classes he needs. There is a couple of things that I want to touch on before I end my presentation. The uniform expense, which is page 9. So I'm asking for it to be raised to $3,000.90. This will also, some of these numbers will be contingent on if that clerical position turned into deputy is approved. So a significant portion of this increase is related to officer safety equipment. The ballistic panels previously purchased by Hunt County have reached their expiration date for the current deputy, and they need to be replaced to continue to have reliable protective equipment. The estimated cost of these are $750 per vest. The rest of the uniform expense would include 2 uniform shirts, 2 pairs of pants, and I've got how much they are, approximately $60 each. Uniform pants, $60 to $80. Let's see. Yeah, so that pretty much touches on that. I mean, I'm asking for new ballistic vests that have expired panels.
Is that your vest that you have on now?
This
or
is my
your-
vest,
okay.
correct. Yes, sir. And this one is actually current, so I'm just asking for the deputy vest. This one's current until 2030. Any questions on uniform? And with that being said, we will move into the final big thing of the budget this year. The expendable tools and equipment, page 12. I'm asking for department-issued firearms. This matter was discussed last year during the budget cycle. However, it has since come to my attention that updated Texas regulations through TCOL require law enforcement agencies to provide department-issued firearms for all full-time law enforcement employees. The requested firearms have been quoted through GT distributors and are the same model firearm and holster currently issued by the Hunt County Sheriff's Office. Standardizing this equipment with the Sheriff's Office helps maintain consistency in training, qualification, and operational familiarity. Oh my goodness, can't say that word right now. It makes it the same across the board, that we all know exactly what each other's pistols do. The quoted cost per firearm, including the duty holster, is approximately $1,149.97. The request in this line item is for 3 department-issued firearms, pending the approval of the deputy. During the 25-26 budget cycle, there was $5,000 put into this line item. I don't understand what the overage was. I asked for computer stands for my vehicles and firearms last year. $5,000 was put into the expendable tools and equipment line item. The stands for our laptops, I believe the invoice was just sent to account payables, and I think it was $3,400. So it leaves some overage during this current budget year that would pay for at least one of those duty firearms, if y'all would approve that. I don't know if this is the time to discuss that or not, but there's money in there that could potentially pay for at least one firearm this year, so we don't have as much coming into the next budget year. And the Texas Administrative Code regarding the establishment of this particular rule is 211.16.
And when was that passed, Matt?
I believe it went into effect last September 1st. And it was too late to bring it up last budget year, whenever I found out about it. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that.
I won't.
So Matt, just so I'm making sure I understand on the math side, so last year you had $5,000 that was plugged in.
Yes, sir.
And this next year, so you are asking for less this next year at $3,400 for the guns?
I'm asking for $3,400, but if allowed to, I would like to go ahead and purchase one of the duty firearms.
This
which
year?
which would lessen that by $1,149.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Michael Benson?
Yes.
All right, y'all gonna get tired of hearing this same speech, but like the other two have said, we're asking for a 10% raise. I went a little farther into detail on mine. So since 2020, when I took office, there was 188 papers served. As opposed to today, it's 347. And I'm not using the whole calendar year. That's going to be from October 1st to June 30th. With that being said, since I've took office, paper service has grown by 79% overall. From last year's numbers to this year's numbers, I've had a 21% increase. And I've included those figures on page 3 that will show all of that, where it backs up the statistics, all pulled straight out of Odyssey. Again, we're all kind of asking for their certificate pay. I know all 4 of us held old county jobs where we received certificate pay, and we also received the $4,000 step pay for years of service. Once you got to 5, you got your money. The day we took office, we lost that $5,800 because it's not offered to those of us that are elected. Per a phone conversation with HR, mainly Sandy Orange, I was told, not we, but just me, I was told when that was set up, it was set up for employees. And if my memory's correct, I get a paycheck from Hunt County. Hunt County pays for my benefits package. That makes me an employee. Otherwise, I'm a contract labor 1099. I'd kind of like some clarification on that. So, am I an employee of the county or am I 1099?
I guess my response would be, as an elected official, you knew what you were running for when you ran for office.
I'm not negating that.
And you knew that it never had been given in the past.
No, I didn't know that.
Well,
But
I would think
it's
that
just simple
should have been your
question.
responsibility to know that when you
That's
were
a
running
simple-
for it. So, no disrespect at all. I'm just saying it's been that way for a long time. All I can tell you is we can look into it and see why it got to that point.
Right.
See what other people are doing.
That's all we're asking for.
And we can research it and see, but that's the way it's been for a long time.
Right. And I think that's all we're asking for
That's fine.
is clarification on it.
Sure.
But, the rest of my budget's pretty small. My biggest increase is going to be fuel. I want to go from $2,500 to $3,500 for fuel to cover that. And then in January 30th, my lease on my enterprise expires. And one of the things I'm asking for that they're not is I'd like to get my own vehicle, take care of it myself, and receive the stipend pay as some of y'all receive. And I think as an elected person, most of them in here do that. I'm not sure on everybody. But it's what I found in the budget. And then, like, going back to all of our pays, we are, like they all said, we are the lowest ones in here, which we knew that going in. But when you get to talking historical, which is all great, everybody's got historical numbers. Very last page in here, I think, I did a salary comparison, and every elected official in this county receives basically the same pay. The JPs are a step above us, but the rest, everybody else is the same pay. Even an appointed person has mirrored y'all for the last 6 years on their pay. And yet y'all kind of step down on us on money, like we're not doing nothing. Constable's office is probably the most dangerous law enforcement agency there is. Statistics will show that. I don't have the joys of them. I'm not asking for an extra deputy. I do it all by myself. So every piece of paper we handle where they're talking 2,000 numbers for their office, that paper could be handled 4 times per paper. So instead of 2,000, it could be 8,000 because we have to make multiple trips to catch these people. One of the protective orders that they were talking about, in my particular precinct, a guy I was trying to serve couldn't catch him. He got into a shootout with A&M in Commerce. Very well could have been me serving him, and I was going to live with that. Now they have to. But that's the depth of our stuff. So all we're asking for is to be paid fairly and kind of mirror some of these other people. But that's kind of all I got on that. Y'all got questions?
So you talk about the stipend. I'm curious, did you do any math, any kind of analysis that, miles and cost to why you come up to that as a better solution?
On which one? On the vehicle
On your-
stipend?
oh, yeah, moving you to a stipend versus.
I have, and what I kind of come up with, I think, if you go by what I'm currently using, it's like 15,200 instead of the 17,500 that each of y'all get. So, I mean,
So-
it's close, but it's not all the way.
And I'm sorry, you just have to tell them, the 15,000, what is that?
That's the cost of the vehicle, the fuel that I've used.
Okay.
That's all that put into one.
That's your lease cost and
Yes,
fuel and.
yes, sir.
And everything, insurance, the whole.
Yes, sir.
So do you have any, and I'm a numbers guy sometimes, and so do you have math that can kind of show me that and walk
I don't
down
have it with me, but I
And
can.
the reason I say it is, you're not the only person,
Right.
that is or is not on a stipend. And certainly,
Right.
we're having conversations about, what is the best solution, especially as fuel costs go up.
Yes, sir.
Is a stipend a better answer than the county? Of course, the county would have to go purchase vehicles in some cases. In yours, you want to use your personal vehicle. Is your personal vehicle marked? Because you do police work, I don't.
I can put letters on it. It's very simple to have them put on.
Yeah, we'd have to talk about that from a county standard as far as, law enforcement vehicles, but.
Years ago, the constables were able to get the stipend. That got changed. Sheriff Jones could probably tell you when it got changed because he was in this position then. But years ago, the constables were afforded that same option.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Well, we certainly have to check on insurance. If you had somebody in the car, if you had to arrest somebody there in your car and there was an accident, then the county's going to have some liability. So we'd have to look into the insurance side of it for sure.
As first, and we had to do it as, extra insurance on it, but his insurance would cover cars, ours would pick up any.
Would they cover, because of the circumstances, would they cover it? I mean, if he's arresting somebody and then gets in a wreck, the person's in there involuntarily, basically, so is there any differential? I don't know, I'm just asking a question.
Right.
Devil's advocate, I don't know.
No, because back whenever they did have them, we had them extra insured, but they have to cover under their insurance.
Verify with our insurance, but make sure that's still the same.
Okay.
Make sure nothing's changed before we consider it.
Do you have an estimated number of miles a year you drive?
about 23,000. Most of my stuff's concentrated in the Commerce area because my northeast corner is cotton fields.
Okay.
So 90% of mine's there and towards Campbell.
Any other questions? Thank you. Eric Qualls?
This is about the shortest one ever.
We've already heard everything.
So we know about pay, insert pay. The only thing I want to do, which is probably the stupidest thing I've ever done, I actually want to give money back on 2 line items. I sold an old truck, so I don't need vehicle maintenance. Communication budget's never been used, so I'm giving that back, and then everything else staying the same as last year. Okay?
Yeah.
Questions?
Well, so, let me make
Can't you
sure.
cut it further? Come on.
Well, I can take the first part that you said versus the second part, get 2 different answers.
All right.
So you want no changes other than things you just did, all the raises they want, you don't want.
No, I said that first.
Okay, so make sure I'm saying.
Raise the same insert pay. So,
As I was saying, the last piece, I'll take that part. You know what I mean? So, all right, so
I
make
mean-
sure I understood what you're saying.
kind of looking like we ain't getting it anyway, so it don't really matter.
So,
All right.
Anything else?
Anything?
See you guys.
Thank you. All right, Wayne Money.
First of all, I'd like to say that y'all have just witnessed some very good cooperation between the JPs. Judge Rankin just got a phone call that he had to go out on an inquest down in Quinlan on, it's a car inquest. He was heading out. Judge Linden cut him off at the pass and said, let me take it, because evidently Judge Rankin's budget needed to be reviewed. This is a cooperation that the JPs have with one another, okay? y'all are fortunate to have us. We just want a 20% raise. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You'll have to define how fortunate a little bit further.
Been here 13 years, and this is the first time that I've been asked to come present my budget. It's about time. And thank y'all for doing this. I don't have a lot to say, except that this was the first year in the 13 years that I've been here that I fell short of my budget. I'm not going to say I had any padding in my budget, but it wasn't very much in the years past, okay? And I've lived within my budget. Last year, there was some discussion, did a little whittling at the request of some of our officials. And the bottom line was, I'll try to make it work, and it didn't work, okay? For that, I apologize, but I needed to run my office. I would like to have the same budget that I had, that I requested in 2024, 2025. Yeah. I think I can make it work. I really do. And I'm going to give some money back too. On the line item 1131, the hourly employees, I had an employee that had to resign because of medical reasons. I hired another part-time employee for less money, and instead of $20,000, which was budgeted for 2026, I'm sorry, instead of $27,000 that was budgeted for 2026, I'd like to have, we knock that down to $20,000 for 26 and 27. Y'all got that?
Yep.
Okay. So everything else, I could use a little more money or maybe a little more padding if y'all so chose. I had one other thing I was going to say, then I was going to wave goodbye. In just a second. Y'all got any questions? And I'll try to think of what I was going to say.
Any questions?
Yeah, so kind of along the lines, I know you and I have lots of nice conversations as life goes on, and whenever I was talking about the efficiencies, you went, hey, you know, but I was curious, as you talk about the way you and the other justices work together, is there opportunities as multiple judges for us to reduce costs, or any efficiency between the areas that we can do something different than we've always done? That y'all can see would make it better and would make it a little cheaper on us.
You could buy my contract out for the next 2.5 years and I'll retire early. We'll let the other four.
I don't think the people would let me buy your contract out.
I don't know.
And I ask that because I don't understand how the system works, and so I don't know where opportunities in your world exist.
Is there software that you don't use that maybe one uses or something like that that could be looked at?
Commissioner, you're looking at the most technological idiot in the world to do that. I mean,
There's others up here.
A big chief tablet and a number 2 pencil works fine for me. We've gone, in the last 2 or 3 years, we've gone to paperless e-files. That doesn't mean that we don't need paper. As a matter of fact, I've never, if I had money left over in a budget, I've never spent it to use it until last year when my budget got cut and I bought paper, okay? And I think it was a good thing that I did, okay? But I really don't know that. I mean, we look to see what we need to do, but my office is it runs pretty good. They're all cross-trained. And I'd like to commend my colleagues A year ago, my wife was very sick. Before I could phone them to ask for help, they were calling me. Got a good crew, bunch of good crew. I've always wanted to do what's best for the county. I tried real hard to keep my budget very, very skinny. But at the same time, we don't need to fall short because I don't like coming up here and asking for money. But again, I think that if you put my budget back to where it was, minus the 20,000 that in the part-time employee, where it was what I asked for back in 2025, I think I can make it work.
All right, any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Wayne. Sheila took off, y'all said. Carrie?
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. Appreciate y'all having us here today. I'm gonna be pretty short as well. My budget, the only thing I'm asking to increase is 2 line items. Everything else is gonna stay the same. We are having some issues with their postage. We're having a lot more criminal cases filed now where we have to send out a lot more letters. So I'm asking to raise that from $2,000 to $3,000. And I'm also asking, now that we've got 2 brand new clerks without any training at all, I'm asking to raise our training budget from $1,000 to $3,500 for training for me and for the 2 clerks. They've got a basic and a experienced clerk school to go to, and then recurring education each year. So that's the 2 things I'm adding. The criminal cases we had filed last year, the end of the year was 2,185. Year to date, we've got 1,308 filed, with a projection from Odyssey to be over 3,800 this year. So the postage is going to help a lot to get letters sent out to those to show up to appear in court. A couple other things I'd like to talk about is Judge Stovall and I have been trying to make arrangements with IT to speak, but our schedules haven't been meeting up. But when Windows 11 came out and all the computers in the county had to be upgraded, that took out our camera system. It works off of the Windows 10, and we've got 1 computer that needs to be upgraded that we can't upgrade because that's the only thing that runs our cameras. So we're asking for about $3,500 is what IT's telling me to upgrade our cameras to the newest version that they're using around the county. IT, we've been in contact with Brandon about that, so they're aware. I do have a quote, but it's an old quote from a few months ago, but about $3,500 or less is what we're looking at there. Something else we've talked about with Judge Stovall briefly and IT is a case law came out last year out of Caldwell County regarding magistrations in the jail. Those are supposed to be open to the public, and the only way we can do that here in Hunt County would be digital. And there's been a couple of ideas tossed around. One's pretty expensive. One is to put a TV in the lobby of the jail and the camera system in the magistration room, which is going to run about $15,000. The cheapest way that will help us to do what we need to do with that is just to put a camera, a webcam in the magistration room, and for us to either broadcast on our own YouTube channels that we had to have during COVID, or have a magistration YouTube channel to broadcast that on so the public can view that while we're doing magistrations. I'm guessing less than $500 for that source, and it may be less than that with the cost of web cameras nowadays is pretty inexpensive.
How would you advertise that?
I'm sorry?
How would you advertise that to the public? So they
like what we do for, or y'all do for your commissioners meetings, just put it on.
put it on our webpage, or okay.
And then let people know that do like a broadcast. I've got my own Facebook page for my court, and we can put that out there and let people know that it's available and they can watch it. Other thing, just briefly, I'd just like to ask for the commissioners to review our travel allowance for the JPs. With the price of gas and having to come over, we're on call every 5th week for 7 days for magistrations. On Friday, Saturday, Sunday, until Monday morning. We're traveling at any time all across the county for inquests or any other calls when we're on call. And some of us are driving to Greenville 7 days straight to do the magistrations. So the price of gas is killing me.
I don't want to put you on the spot or have you call anybody else out, but is it pretty much the same across the board on the travel allowance as far as how many miles y'all are traveling? Do y'all split up the on-call where it's pretty fair? Again, I don't want to put you on the spot, but.
The on-call is pretty fair because we do it every 5th week. However, there's sometimes, like last week, Judge Roundtree and Judge Money were out, so I covered the magistrations and covered her precinct. Didn't have anything in her precinct, but I covered magistrations. And then Judge Lennon had some things that she needed to be out of the office for, so I covered magistrations last week from Sunday through Thursday. In addition to what I did a couple weeks ago, but that we do that for everybody, for each one of us. I mean, if we need to be out, then another judge is going to cover us. But I believe y'all are still using video magistrate. Okay. Judge Roundtree and Judge Rankin are using video magistrate, which is a digital version of kind of like Zoom, where you do it. They keep track of all of our paperwork. Judge Linden, Money, and I all come to the jail. But I'm coming from Commerce on my days.
So you're saying some come to the jail for magistrate and some do it online?
We got video magistrate back during COVID, and Judge Rankin and Judge Roundtree choose to use that, do that from their office, and I choose to come to the courthouse or to come to the jail and do it in person.
So the travel allowance isn't the same then? Okay. Go ahead.
Just the software the video that some are using, do you know what the cost of that is?
I believe it's $600 a month.
Oh, crap.
I think it's $600 a month, and it's any judge that wants to use it. We all still have access to it. I haven't used it in probably 4 or 5 years.
Well, and I ended up having to come to the jail a couple of times last time because we had internet issues.
Yeah, sometimes they have internet issues where, I mean, you have to have internet access to be able to get on.
But you don't use it, and
I don't.
not picking at it, but I'm saying, but we're probably still paying $600. Is it by seat for you, or is it $600 for the county?
It's for the county.
For the
Yeah.
county,
Any
okay.
judge can use that. It was offered to the district and county court, but they chose to use Zoom instead of the video magistrate.
All right, anything else?
I want to, from your question earlier, Commissioner Smith, all of us use e-file, which a lot of attorneys use that to file cases with our JP courts. In Commerce, JP2, we are using e-file to file our appeals to the county clerk's office, which saves a lot of paper changing hands, and it gets to them. All the stuff that's entered into the system, all the documents are already scanned in by our office, so Becky's clerks don't have to rescan that in, so it saves a little bit of time on their end, plus paper. We have started using DocuSign a few years ago. We started it for me to do attorney forms for the district courts in the jail, and which we're not using that for that, but we're using it for complaints for the officers. We're using it for defendants that are remote, that can't make it to our office, that want to take care of their citations. We're using it for jury excuses. We can send their jury excuses out. They tell us why they want to get out of jury duty, and we can approve it there. A lot of stuff that we're using, forms we're using are through DocuSign to save time and paper. We have some of our petitions and applications for certain orders in certain cases online, and we're updating those periodically to make sure they're current. Another thing that I'm using in our court is the task queue. Task queue is where when we have civil cases where there's a judgment, even criminal cases, the clerk prepares that online, sends it to the task queue in Odyssey, and then I go online and sign it remotely or electronically. That way we're not having to print a copy for us. It goes into the system. We're going all digital there. We only have to print off the copies that go to the defendants or the plaintiffs. And as far as magistrate documents as well, used to we'd copy all those documents, bring them back, scan them in, and I scan what the jail's got at the time I do the magistrations, saving copy paper there, and we enter them in electronically and attach those to those magistrations. That way the courts can get to them, and we've got them all in there and no paper. So we're saving quite a bit of paper and time, making our courtroom more efficient.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
So, curious, in line with that,
Uh-huh.
because those are good things, way to use technology to reduce costs, reduce some time and all that good stuff, so that's excellent. As you talk about your postage going up, and you also said your case count's going up, so I'm assuming there's a direct correlation there when you went from 25 to 3,800. Are there other things in that we're still using postage on that the state will allow us to do electronically that maybe we just haven't moved to yet?
If the defendant or the plaintiff wants their service done by registered mail, we do that, but we charge them the fee for that. So we get that back. We don't do that very often. Most people want it served hand-delivered, but we do send out our judgments via mail. We'll do it email if they ask for it, but we have to have their permission to do that. Most people want it mailed to them.
Okay.
So we're still making copies and using postage that way.
So it's
Most
largely
of-
things that are still required.
Yeah, most of our postage is for criminal offenses. We get a lot of cases from the school district for parent contributing to non-attendance, and we have to send out the initial appearance document to all those. We're getting cases from the health department, and those we have to send out by mail as well. Which they do a letter to them to let them know it's being filed, but we have to send them the actual file date or the court date or appearance date. So.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Anything else? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Christie Roundtree.
Okay, mine is also pretty short and sweet. I did do an amendment on my 5-year plan and explanation of line item. Do y'all want a copy of that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so initially I had put more in my training line item. I am gonna leave that at 3,500 after doing a little more figuring. So I'm leaving that the same. And everything else around that was also the same, the communications, the dues, which there was a little problem with the dues. One of them got paid twice, but I have a check, a refund from TAC for that. So it's fine to leave it at that. Operating supplies is fine. Our postage is fine. The only thing is the travel allowance part due to fuel cost and things. We were kind of considering asking for that, which Judge Cruz went over briefly. And yes, I do use Video Magistrate. The reason I do that is because I feel like I stay in the office a little more, or I'm around my precinct more if needed, because arraignments do take a lot of our time since we have a lot more things we have to do with that now. Does anybody have any questions about that part? Okay. So, since we did get called in, the other thing I was going to ask, I wanted to try to get my clerk's salary moved to 53.5. And I think it's currently showing 51,088. Since we are a one clerk office, she does wear a lot of hats, and she is also certified. Does anybody have any questions about that part?
Do y'all work Monday through Friday too, correct?
We do 10-hour days, Monday through Thursday. And she's actually out because she had knee replacement surgery, so she's not working at the moment. She's on medical leave. So I am the clerk and the judge at the moment. And last week I was at conference, which was a good thing. We did talk about some changes that are probably going to be coming about, so we'll see how the legislative year goes. So
Judge, how many cases do y'all see a year up there?
I didn't do the statistics on it because we are a little less busy than the other courts. However, I do offer, if any of them need help, to holler. We help them. We all help each other pretty well. And I do truancy for the entire county, which it's not as much as it used to be, but we still do get truancy cases. And I've been holding those in Judge Money's or Judge Linden's courtroom.
Any other questions? Thank you.
I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Clay Rankin, you ready? I know you're kind of busy right now.
It's been quite the weekend and day and all that good stuff. Good morning, and thank you all so much. So I didn't realize we were covering the whole budget. However, we can do that as well. I'm not asking for an increase in any area except for bringing 2 new employees in, October 1st to December 31st, in order to be trained by the people who are currently there. And as you know, I'm losing my entire staff. They've given me notice. They will be gone December 31st. We have come up with a lot of shortcuts. We put our heads together, sent them to specialized training in order to bring back more information, new forms, everything you can imagine, because our case numbers continued to rise even though we didn't have the money for a part-time employee. But as I promised, we figured out how to make it work without it, getting behind in a few areas, but for the most part, we're staying up on it. The amount of income has gone up tremendously since I've taken office. The first year that I was in office, from October 1st through May 31st, we had 579 new cases. But I collected we collected $128,000 during that same time frame. Those 500 new cases would only account for maybe half of that. The rest of it was all the old files that we brought up to date, and we concluded those cases. So that's where that initial number comes in. Did you all get the emails that I sent you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. And if you have any questions, of course, I'll answer them. But in a nutshell, let me see, October 1st, 2022 to May 31st of 23, we had 579 new cases filed. October 1st, 23 to May 31 of 24, we had 1,138 new cases. 10/1 of 24 to 5/31 of 25, we had 1,309. 10/1 of 25 to 5/31 of 26, we had 1,811. And the newest number, I know she gave it to me. The newest number is 1,866 through this month, through the month of June. So that's where the numbers are as far as the new cases coming in. The income was $128,000 for 22-23, $125,242 from October 1 to May 31st of 23-24, 24-25, $172,000, 25-26, $212,000 through May 31st. The month of June alone, we've brought in and deposited $30,500. And I know that's always been a question when I've come in before, and I never concerned myself with the money portion of it, but I thought I'd bring it into you because I am asking for money in one category, and that's to bring 2 new personnel in order to have them trained on the job, which will allow us to continue to handle the new cases coming in, learn all the shortcuts and all the ways that we're doing business, so we don't have this huge delay and a drop in not only the cases being filed, but the amount of money being collected during that time frame that they're being trained in. And I don't know how long that'll take if I don't have the folks there to do it.
Is your plan, if I'm reading this right, is to bring the 2 new people on October 1st? Is that what you're asking for?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And so to be, the money is just for October 1st through December 31st, and then it's the regular budget.
Yes, so it's
No
transition
increases.
training.
Yes, sir, that's it,
So
nothing
it's
more.
your net zero on employees
Yes, sir.
after the first quarter.
Yes, sir. And I do believe that we'll be able to continue the growth pattern that we have with those folks as long as I continue getting them the training, getting the certifications, everything we've been doing, which is why all the other numbers are remaining the same. I can go into more detail, but I know that I've sent it to you. I know you have it. I'm willing to answer any questions you have, or I'll read it out loud.
No, I appreciate that you're doing things to make what you have do more.
Yes, sir.
And so I do appreciate that, because that's what we asked everybody to try and go figure out this last year, is where can we be better?
Yes, sir.
And so I do like the idea of a transition plan. I know we're all trying to figure out money, but certainly that's business 101
Well,
if you can pull it off.
And here's the deal. We're going to lose far more than that if we don't do it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think we're looking at anywhere between 125 to 150,000 year one of income going down because of the time it's going to take to get them up and running.
Questions?
Do you feel like you're gonna be able to get somebody hired October 1?
Yes. Yeah, so I'm going to be pretty, the reason I'm asking to start, the reason I'm asking your permission to start as soon as possible is I'm going to require that they have training as a clerk in justice court to even be considered. And then beyond that, I'm putting a preference on Odyssey. So yeah, I have every intention of having them up and running October 1st, but I got to get started on finding them.
Do you have a rough number of what that cost is from
Yeah,
October
well,
1st?
I have an exact number including benefits.
Okay, good deal.
Bear with me, I really do have it. Question is, where did I put it? There it is. $34,472. Oh, and we will have training money left over in the budget. We canceled the schools as soon as I received notice of the clerks. Well, one notice y'all know about, and when I received the other notice of Lisa leaving as well, we've canceled the training for both of them. So we have additional money left over because of that. That doesn't stop the training, though, that they've been doing online, which, as you know, I'm a big proponent of.
But your 2 new clerks, they will have to have some kind of training 26, 27, though, correct?
Yes, yeah, which is why everything else remaining the same. That'll give
Okay.
us the money to do that with. And I'm going to get them moving towards a certification. I don't care who works down there, I want them certified. That helped tremendously on coming together as a team and coming up with creative ideas and ways to make the process more seamless in order to ensure that we can handle the additional cases without impact to the community. Oh, and as far as Matthew Reagan goes, his numbers are going to continue to go up. I have certain policies, procedures, and local rules that you can go online to my webpage, OCA, wherever you want to review them, that is causing attorneys to start calling the constable's office for debt claims. I'm making it pretty difficult as far as the requirements I have to ensure the people are being served and the process services aren't being dumped. And because of that, a lot of them have been going to him to request that he serve those documents because there's trust there.
Judge, what would it look like if you got one person hired and get them up to speed, and then you get over into the next budget, then add your second person? Instead of, that way you're not trying to train two.
We'll lose
people.
half the money I was talking about. We're still gonna lose the money. The money,
Yeah, but you're not gonna be able to be as efficient with two untrained people, is
You-
my point.
If you've ever come in there, if you ever came in there when these girls are working and watched what Miss Weiniger is doing, what Miss Lopez is doing, they are constantly moving forward. When I'm on call, like I am now, all the stuff that I just did on magistration this morning from 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock when I finally got them finished is being processed now by Miss Lopez. I require that. Everything that comes in on e-files will be done today. If it comes in today, it is done today. Those are requirements that have been in place for a while, and I stand by it. So if we take any of that away, it's going to negatively impact how the work is being accomplished, finishing, which is where the money comes in at. Money doesn't come until the work is done.
Yeah. But my point is how are you gonna be efficient at doing that when you have two people that you're trying to train?
We've been talking about it for a little bit. We have a system in place that they're going to teach the new people, things that they're not going to learn in JP Court Clerk School. They're not going to learn it there. They're not going to learn it going to the specialized education that I send them to. They're going to learn it from the people who are there, that when we sat down to develop those processes that nobody else is using in order to ensure we could continue to grow without the additional people.
I understand, and I'm not against you,
No, I
I'm
know
making
that,
sure I'm
and you have a
clear and
good-
understand what you're asking.
Yeah, Commissioner, you have an excellent question, which is why I don't, if I sound like I'm frustrated, I'm not.
No.
I'm really not, but I am highly motivated to make sure y'all know the both sides of the coin, the pluses and the negatives of doing this. If we get them in and we get them trained up by the people who are there, we're going to continue to grow. The money's going to continue to grow, as you've seen, $30,000 just this month, which helps the county overall. If we don't, it's going to be impacted. The process has to be learned at some point, somewhere, somehow. And it may all be new processes by the time we're done if we don't have them trained by the people who are there.
I appreciate you managing both sides of the ledger. It's easy to manage one. It's often more difficult to manage the cost and the revenue.
Hugely, as you know, it's a difficult concept. It can be done. You pointed that out to me last time I was in here, and I spent a lot of time putting it together to make sure I had the numbers correct. And I checked with a lot of people in the right positions to ensure I had the numbers correct. I don't want to see my community harmed. I really don't. And they depend a lot on the court. I'm out in the field a lot, as you guys know. I do a lot within the community, as you all know, and the community continues to come to us rather than having disputes between themselves about issues in the community. It only makes sense. That's what we're there for. Constitutionally, that's what the office was created for, was to handle those community disputes before they got out of control. It's part of what we do. Handling the inquest is another part of what we do. And I spend a lot of time with the families on those. Now, this is not an excuse. This is not actually talking about me at all. But if I'm doing that, then who is going to be putting the information into the computers, bringing the new cases in, getting them prepped, getting them set for court, understanding when I am and am not going to be in town in order to handle that, or when an emergency comes up like Judge Money, where we're covering for another judge and we walk away from what we're doing to do so. Doesn't happen very often, but it will periodically when it's an emergency situation. It's just going to happen. But when you have two clerks in there who know what they're doing, as much as Miss Weiniger and Miss Lopez do, I have complete faith that they'll get them trained up. I know they will, because they're going to be there right next to them while they train them. So they're going to know everything that we're doing currently to keep everything running the way it is. And once they're gone, They're going to continue to go to the schools and education in order to ensure we're bringing new ideas in. One thing I did notice, every time I sent them to a school, they'd come back with another idea. How do we handle juvenile diversions when we have to put the plan together, put it into effect, but then if there's ever a disagreement about that plan, they bring it to the judge? Well, then the judge can't be involved in putting the plan together to begin with, or there's a conflict of interest. You have to recuse yourself, have another judge come in and listen to it. Not a very good utilization of resources. So Ms. Lopez, I sent her to be trained up. You were asking about other things you could do that would help us all. Get an administrator over the juvenile diversion program, put them with the juvenile department, give them the employee where we can send the juveniles to them to oversee it. Then if the family has a conflict about the plan they've come up with, they bring it back to the court of jurisdiction. It makes sense. That would be an out-of-pocket expense, though. Now, I can tell you they have grant money available for it, or at least they did. In, what was it, 2024, I think, when we started this? I'll bet you that there's probably still some money out there that we could get for that with permission from Commissioner's Court. Because we'd have to pick that employee up over a period of time.
Okay, anything else? Sure. You need to come to the mic, please.
Come up here.
No, it's got to be on record. Not about that, it's, but you got to be on record.
Exactly.
I just wanted to say, by just hiring one clerk and teaching her the civil and the criminal part, it's very overwhelming. Because when I'm there by myself, or Lisa's there by herself, and there's a whole bunch of people that come in the office, people want to pay their tickets, people filing an eviction, people, the phone ringing, it's a lot for one person. And so it would be overwhelming just to hire one person and teach them everything, instead of hiring a civil clerk and a criminal clerk, and then after they're trained and feel confident, then they can cross-train.
And that's pretty much the way it's gonna, the way that we had planned for it to work to begin with, is to have them trained and in place before we started doing the cross-training. It is overwhelming. When I get calls from Ms. Weiniger about being overwhelmed, and I do get those calls, and I should have said that, I apologize. Not all of my brain is here currently, just so you know, I left some of it in bed. But you know, when I hear those phone calls come in, and you can hear the tension in their voice, I don't want to lose these people as soon as we bring them in. I want to make sure we have a long-term relationship, and working as a team is what has helped that stay together, and we're going to continue to do that, but I think it's important.
What would you start choosing people at?
The same pay rate as they have. They're going to be asked to do the same job. They're going to be coming in with the same experience. Okay, it's going to be exactly the same. As far as I can tell right now, right? It's going to be exactly the same. The head or chief clerk that I select will be on the pay scale that Ms. Weiniger has. The secondary clerk or the other clerk who doesn't have as much experience will be on the scale of Ms. Lopez. Both of them are pretty darn close, though, from what I understand. Yeah. Okay. So an $8,000 pay raise would resolve that question really quick, but I don't think we want to go there. So, yeah, we'll figure it out, though, one way or another, and it will be dependent on their background and experience themselves. I think we need to be realistic about that. So is there a possibility of some of that money coming back to the county? Yeah, I don't see it right now, but it is possible.
Thank you.
Judge, I appreciate how you're trying to transition and all that. I'm not against you, I promise you. But,
I know you're not.
you know, I'm just having to, you know, we're tight this year, and we're just having to do what we can do. And so that's why I'm asking the question.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of people, I think, thought that some of the constables thought we were against them. We didn't appreciate what they're doing. It's not that at all. You know, it's just a matter of we have a certain number we have to hit, and that's what we have to work with.
You're doing your job.
So, yeah.
I can't ask for more than that. I can only tell you the pluses and minuses of doing this, and then let y'all make the decision. It will benefit the county, period. You will have a plus amount of money coming in compared to what we're going to utilize in order to ensure that the office remains the same as it is as far as its ability to handle the caseload, the community's expectations, and all the stakeholders' expectations. You know, one of the big increases in everything that happened was putting in the remote attendance. The attorneys who kept asking for continuances because they couldn't be there, that was no longer possible. I made it impossible. They can appear remotely if they need to. Therefore, the continuances weren't happening, which was moving the cases through the process. We've processed probably 90% of the cases, new cases that we've had come in this year so far. Some of them are still in the works because they haven't come to a resolution on the civil side, but we move them along pretty well. Got to admit, you guys pushed me to do it, but it was a plus. No question about that. Anything else, gentlemen, that I can answer for you?
Thank you, Clay.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
It's actually about our clerk education. That is not a requirement by the state for our clerks to be trained. We all choose to do that because that way they know their job. I'm on the clerk education committee for our training center. So I will say a trained clerk is 100 times better than a clerk that's not trained. So when we're asking for training budget, that's why. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian Toole?
Morning, guys. I've got a pretty small budget and really no request. I know I've got a communication line item on there that is going away. Other than that, I think everything's pretty well in order and pretty well in place. Moving forward in the future, I don't know what the next few years is going to hold as we grow and our needs grow, and if we can never get the zoning ordinance across the finish line, I'm going to need some people down there around the lake. We need to also start thinking about an engineer for the county instead of an outsourced engineer. So, but as of this year, don't have any requests.
So just out of curiosity, since you brought up about the engineer, so obviously volume and activity starts driving to where contracting versus having somebody on the payroll makes more sense. Have you looked at how much we spend to have somebody outsourced today and where the volume would be to justify bringing somebody on?
So when we have any kind of submittal that requires civil engineering review, whether it's a subdivision that has drainage or an RV park that has drainage, the engineers that we have now, they bill us according to how much time they review, how much time they have in each review. Some of the reviews that come from engineers that may not be as qualified as others require more reviews. We've had some reviews 4, 5, 6 times, and they still can't get it right. Most of the time, engineers that are familiar with our policies and with our manuals that we have and our requirements, they can get it done in 1 or 2 reviews. So it doesn't cost near as much.
So it's all review incoming. There's not creation required.
Correct.
Yeah.
Another issue that I've noticed is that whenever you have controversial subdivisions or subdivisions that may have more engineering required, additional drainage, maybe there are additional features or the geography on the subdivision is different, you have additional drainage requirements, additional detention requirements, and additional design requirements. We're seeing more and more people complain, and you have people who are, they're affected by some sort of drainage requirement. They're affected by something. Maybe they have a detention pond on their property or a drainage easement on their property or something such as this. You're going to run into an instance where these engineers are required to come back after the subdivision is complete. I've got several where it'd be nice to have an engineer to look at these problems that have occurred after the fact, or on an old subdivision that was approved years and years ago. There's drainage issues all over the county, whether it's in a platted subdivision or just in an unplatted area, just a rural area. So having a county civil engineer could be beneficial, not just for my engineering views, but for day-to-day precinct operation with repairing drainage, repairing
Is that
roads. And
1 year or 5 years from now that you see them on?
Tell me how much it's gonna grow.
Yeah.
depends on how much it's going to grow.
Let me shift gears on your budget. Pretty much sounds like you said, leave it as is, right? Around the lake, the zoning activities and all that. So obviously, whenever you start doing public hearings and things around that again, do you have adequate money in there for notification of folks in the current budget?
If we have to notify everybody around the lake, no, I do not have the money in there. That was a $12,000, $13,000 public notice. So no, I don't have money like that in the budget. That is something where I would have to come and request additional from y'all, just because the public hearing stuff is so very expensive.
Anything else?
Hey, Brian, on your budget, it's got, on the replatting expenses, on your current budget is 20,000, and it shows that you only spent 2,200, and we're requesting 20,000 again. And then on expendable equipment, it's showing 7,000, and it's showing that we haven't spent anything this year, and we're requesting 7,000 again. Can you explain
I've
those?
spent a little bit on the expendable equipment this year within the last couple of weeks, getting a new camera for meetings and for Zoom calls. There's a big public outcry to have that stuff more public, and of course I get a lot of people who want to have Teams meetings instead of coming all the way in. So I got a new camera that will solve that issue. With the replatting fee and the subdivision fees, from my understanding, that is more of a placeholder, because most of that stuff I charge the public for, I charge the developer for. Whenever it's a replat that requires a public notice, that developer pays an additional fee that covers the public notice and all that stuff, the newspaper ad and the certified mail. With the subdivision fees, obviously the developer comes in and they pay the submittal and they pay the other fees that are required. So those fees should be offset somehow through revenue items. But they have always been there since I've been here, and I've asked about that before. Hey, that could, especially last year when there was such a big push to try to cut budgets and to look at ways to save. That was the first thing I asked was, I've got these additional funds on my budget, but these are fees that are paid for by the developer instead of by the taxpayers. So I don't know about those, or if they could be removed, or if those placeholders have to be there.
Anything else? Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Brittany Turner?
Hey, Judge, can we
Yes.
take a recess for a second?
Sure.
I'm super short.
Well, come on.
Go ahead, after Brittany.
It's like, it's super short. I promise. I got like $20,000 here, guys, we can talk about. I promise it's super short. I write, my budget is mainly the same. I've only got a few line items that are below the salary line. I did have to ask for increases this year, but I believe that they're justifiable increases because I changed from doing a 1-year bond to a 4-year bond. So since I'm going to be, I'm the only one on the ballot in November and everything, I'll be taking a new bond in January of '27. So it's going to be a 4-year bond. I've increased my budget $3,500 to account for that. Because with the statute, it also says that as our budget increases, our M&O increases. I also, from 4 years ago, have to increase the total of my bond too. So it's like 0.1% of the total M&O on what I need to be bonded for, along with my staff. So that's why those lines fluctuate. They're never going to be a straight across the board thing because they have to fluctuate as the budget fluctuates. So I did have to ask for an increase there, but that's going to be 4 years. Next year, it's going to go back down to where I'm only paying for my staff, which is a yearly bond. I also asked for, I have a $500 travel in and out of county that is not for myself, that is for my staff if they have to assist with any bank runs for my, the bank updated their platform and their all of their banking systems, so it's taking them a lot longer to process our deposits. When I first started in this position, they were able to just take my checks and the back staff would process the checks at a later date. They're now having to process all the checks that we bring in at the time that we bring them in, and they're having to verify them. If there's any problems, it takes them longer. So sometimes whenever we have, like with our tax assessor, if sometimes their remote deposit fails and we have to take them in, we have to drop off the deposits and go back and pick them up. Otherwise, I'd be clogging up their commercial lane for about 2 hours. So this is just allowing for an additional amount because I spent last year without us doing that. I spent $433 of the $500 just with the assistance and everything for that. And so just allowed for a little bit extra there, $150 extra. It wasn't a whole lot, but that's what that's accounting for. That happened last July. And so since then, if we have larger days, we have at least once a week where the sheriff's department comes in and they bring in their stuff once a week. And so we typically drop off on those days and pick up. And so my travel allowance covers me going back into the bank and everything every day except for when my staff drops off. But other than that, everything else is the same. My training and schools operating budget, I left them the same. I believe last year I did like 500 over one, 500 under the other, but they're exactly the same. So I just left them at 6,000 apiece. But otherwise, very simplified budget. Are there any questions that you have?
No, David needs a break, so.
I know. That's why I was like, I'm talking fast, David. I'm going quick. All right.
Darren said we need a break.
Yes.
Anybody got questions?
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a 10-minute break.
Susan? Doug? They good?
We up? All right, it's now 11:23. We're back in session. Susan Spradley? Morning.
I think I'm going to be probably your quickest one yet. I'm just asking to keep the same budget that I currently have from last year with no increases, although I'd love to ask for raises for my employees. Hopefully, a cost of living raise will come about by keeping it simple.
All right.
Good.
Do you have any, you're doing anything with your archives or anything?
Yes, I've asked for the same 25 that I've asked for the past several years. I get anywhere from 4 to 8 books restored every year. So
no increase in your budget. You have anywhere for decrease then?
actually, my budget's pretty comfortable. If there is, we stock up on paper, copy paper, or jury summons if there is any left over. But at this point, my case binders and legal forms is pretty much what I actually had to transfer some from my operating funds to cover the last batch of jury summonses. That is a ongoing, we called 120 juries last year. That includes about 35,000 jury summonses, envelopes, copy paper to go along with the letters the judges want sent, and the postage. And so that budget's actually gone. So we'll try to stock up on some copy paper closer to the end. And toner. That's a big one.
So I do appreciate the no change, trying to do that. Just as you've gone through the year, have there been any processes or changes, technology, software, what gets mailed, what's paper, what's electronic? Have you gone through anything to try and find ways to just, in general, lower the cost of the organization?
So pretty much everything we do is electronic, with the exception of personal service, where we have to print off copies of documents, and but we do a whole lot of that by electronic as well, because we can create the PDF, attach the citation, and e-serve it to the constable that's going to serve it. So we're pretty mindful of trying to keep everything as electronic as possible, so we don't have to use that paper, but the paper comes in when you're talking about the juries and all that. And I'm sorry, I got lost with the...
No, just let me ask it maybe just a little different.
Yeah.
Is there anything out there in your industry, so to speak, that you could come to the court and say, you know what, if you would give me $5,000, I'm making up numbers, okay, it would result in a $50,000 reduction or an $80,000 reduction or even a $20,000 reduction. Do you see anything like that out there that says this is a better way to do it if we'd be willing to invest?
It would take me a moment to think on that, to give you an answer, but at this point, I don't know of anything.
Yeah, because like I said, we're just looking to see
Yes.
what's next. How do you start managing costs, not just the revenues? So,
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, anything else? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Becky.
And thank you, Miss Susan, I got one of your jury summons. Yes, thank you. My budget is fairly simple this year. I have either stayed the same or I have cut where I could. I tried to cut 5% off of any line item that I could. So I am kind of giving back a little bit, but my hopes is to ask for employee raises for the employees. I do have in my fund 81 that is specific funds that have to be spent in specific ways. My plat scanner is at its end of life. Its end of life will be the 12/31 of '26. They will no longer service it or repair it. So I have gotten quotes on that. And so, let me find my Fund 81. I have currently asked for 13,000. The quote from Metro Repro to get a plat scan machine that does exactly what we need it to do is 12,845. And that should include training, and it should include a roll of paper and a toner, and then we will have to take over purchasing the toner and the paper for that. But that would be also in my operating supplies that
Does it scan also?
it does scan. Mhm.
Does it give you any benefit from a process standpoint? Does the particular item that you're looking at buying, does it give you any new enhancement, new process, something that will change the way you do business?
I don't think it's going to change the way that we do anything. It's supposed to be their latest and greatest with all the bells and whistles, so it should have a little more functionality. I don't know that that's really going to help us out any, because basically we take the plats, once y'all all sign them, and we scan them in. It turns it into a PDF for us that we can view on the computer, that we can also print off. So if somebody comes in and wants, a scan of that, then we can either print it off on a regular piece of paper, or we can get the 18 by 24.
So there's no next level machine that offers a lot of other bells and whistles. This is it.
This should be it, yes. I mean, I didn't ask for more bells and whistles because we really don't need it. But yeah,
Will y'all scan backwards, or y'all just scanning going forward?
we do go back if we do find something that is not legible. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, just a time frame. I know surveyors haven't been in the business so long. We used to have to go to the courthouse to get a paper copy of it, and then it came along, things are electronic. Do we have it electronic where people can see it online and print it
Yes,
somewhere
yes,
else?
you
Have
can-
you scanned all of them that are in the courthouse, or just go forward was my question? You just going forward from to now, or did you go back and scan?
We did go back and we picked up some things that were like, remember the old black or the blue papers that,
Made
it's
them-
not really paper, it's almost like wallpaper.
I made a bunch of those, yeah.
Some of those we've had to rescan because the scans weren't clear.
Right.
There are some, like, some of the subdivisions are so large back in time that the print is so tiny on them that you can't read, the measurements. So sometimes we can take that and blow it up and actually read it a little bit better. But we have gone back, and if we find something that doesn't look good or is fuzzy, whatever it may be, we do try to rescan it.
Right, okay.
So, yeah. But other than that, it's pretty simple. Like I say, I tried to cut 5% on several of the line items that I could. Some I cannot. There is one line item that I do need to make an adjustment to, and that's going to be my Fund 10, my 2314. That's the bonds. I do need to put in $1,350 for a new clerk bond that's going to be required on January the 1st of '27. So instead of 605, I need 1,955 on that line item.
You said 2314?
2314 in Fund 10.
$1,950 or 13?
$1,955.
$50, okay.
Yeah.
So is that going to be for 4 years instead of annually, or?
That will be the 4-year clerk bond, and that should be the 1-year employee bond
Okay,
together.
okay. Is that the same as the 605 was, or did it extend the
No,
4 years?
the 605 is the employee bond, and that's what that has been for years.
Okay,
I don't anticipate it's going to go up, but that's what we've been paying for years.
so the county clerk bond has gone up, not the employee bond?
Right.
Okay.
Becky, thanks for being frugal on the budget. But I had a question on line item 7600. It's on contingency. It's $50,000. What exactly is contingency for?
That's in Fund 81?
Yeah.
That is some of my archive. If we need something like that's an immediate, that's not in my 88, then we can put it in this 81.
Okay, so it's for doing your files and stuff.
Right.
So some of that expense is not always budgeted, or you don't know what that expense could be.
Exactly. There could be something that happens that, we need, I don't know, we would need to get some kind of a different scanner or something like that. That would help get that.
Okay.
Those are all special funds. just
Yes,
so
it's
they're
special
not-
funds.
they're not
It's not
taxpayer funds.
general, yeah.
All right.
So-
Any other questions? Thank you,
All
Becky.
right. Mhm.
Thank you.
Rodney? Rodney, before you speak, I had a meeting last week with the city of Greenville, and they're going to work with us to try to put something together to help us with the dog, and we got a meeting with the city of Commerce next week.
I don't think it's been set up, but we're trying to with Rodney and the sheriff and us.
It
and
was for
City of
August,
Commerce.
August, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, I saw it on my calendar. I couldn't remember when it was.
Seen that far ahead.
Yeah.
But they were saying kind of the same thing, willing to help out, and I know they've come out a couple of times since for the sheriff's office as well, so. Sounds like we got a
We're
path.
trying to get some help.
That's progress. for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, we're trying to get some help.
So good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about budget and numbers and that type of thing. I've presented you a letter basically requesting an additional environmental health inspector or registered sanitarian for food establishments, pools, and splash pads, and then also for the rabies investigations. So the position we have now is grant funded for that person that does all the food, rabies, and also all the swimming pools and food complaints, anything food related. So that is a position that was created with the grant. But to meet our standards of the 2 inspections per year, and that's state standards and also the grant standards, we are falling short with that. And if you take a look down there, right now we have about 285 food establishments. That includes schools. So that's all food related. Now that's a fluid. It changes all the time. We have places come in, places go out. So, but looking at that number of 285, that gives you 570 inspections that are required to meet that 2 per year, just on the food side alone. Plus that we've got about 28 swimming pools that we inspect, and a lot of those require multiple re-inspections, going back, trying to get them back open or get them open. And then we've talked about in the past that before the court a couple of weeks ago about the numbers of the animal bite cases, and they continue to rise. Right now, currently today, it's 103 for this year. That's from January, and that's up from, you'll see, from 68 in 2025. So we're still steadily moving up. They just keep coming in. So also we had like 36 food complaints, which actually is a really great number. We want to keep that number as low as possible as far as actual food complaints. So I asked for this additional person to share the load from the food side. Right now we use one of the septic people to do some, to help with some of the inspections, as far as especially some of the animal bites. So that's the reasoning behind the other person. Also, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to make sure I was following you.
Sure.
So you said you have one person now that's on a grant.
That's correct.
Now, is this person, is it the same person and you're moving to fund it because the grant's running out, or is this in addition to?
In addition to.
Okay.
In addition. The grant's been in place before I got here, and it funded that one position for food, pools, and rabies. So this would be an additional person.
Okay.
Okay. So, and we've heard about the growth. When we looked at I started counting up the number of new establishments that are coming, food establishments. I come up with about 26 throughout the county. Now, these are, you know, in the planning phase or past the planning phase, or some of these are establishments that are closed that they'll reopen at some point and be a food establishment. Again, I'm sure like we have in Commerce, we have the Dairy Queen. I'm sure it'll be another food establishment at some point. So in Lone Oak, we've got a couple as well. That'll be probably food establishments. But 26, so if you add that, if you do, once they're open and going again, that's 52 more inspections to add to that, the 570 as far as inspections. So in addition to additional person to help share that load, of course, that person would need a vehicle as well to conduct those inspections. And also on the wish list in the budget, I also asked for, I would like to have a vehicle as well where I can go out and follow up with inspections. And, you know, I know as of late, some of the animal bites, you know, I've done a few of those as well to just try to help out, especially with right now our food inspector's been out on vacation, and so we've had a lot of demand during this time with the 4th of July and that type of thing. What questions can I answer for you this morning?
So on the grant, does it cover the entire cost of our employers? It like a lot of them, it covers it way under what we're currently having to expend.
It's somewhere around 71,000, somewhere in there. Is it pretty close?
71641 is what the grant's for. It pays 100% of the employee salary and about 8,000 of medical, and the rest of the fringe goes to the payroll.
Okay. Any questions?
So everything else is the same?
Pretty close. Yeah, I think if you look at just the items that we had control of in the budget, I think we were down like 4%. So pretty close to the same.
Rodney, do you know how much it would be, like, you know, time, because you're gonna have salary and then all the, you know, benefits with that, and then a vehicle? Have you done a total cost, what that would cost?
Just roughly in my head, I'm looking at, you know, somewhere in the 60 range for inspector, if we can find one for that price. And then, you know, the vehicle, and then I'm sure just the salary plus all your insurance and benefits and all that, I'm not sure what that exact total is. We kind of wanted to throw this out there to see if it's even possible before we got down to the exact numbers. So.
And I know you need additional staff, but has anything not been getting completed with the staff that you currently have?
It's getting delayed. So when we get animal bites in, those are time sensitive. We have to get those animals into quarantine, and so we have to jump on those because there's a 10-day. We need to get those animals in quarantine for that 10 days. So if we don't get that inspection done, it just gets delayed. So there's delays of not getting things done, and we're shooting for that 2 per year. So those suffer.
Okay. How many days or how long does that get delayed when it does get delayed?
I'm sure we have inspections that are 9, 10, 11 months out. So it should be done at least every 6 months.
So you were saying you needed 2 cars, is that right? One for the added person, one for yourself?
That's what I would like to have. Yes, sir.
So how many do y'all have today?
We have 3 vehicles.
3?
Yes, sir. And also, if we've got repairs, we've got one in the shop, that would also give us something to drive while that is being repaired or in service.
Yeah, that's what my wife says. I should have an extra car for her. So it ain't work for her either. But but I'm curious. So today, so you're obviously doing so. Are you on a stipend, an allowance, or reimbursed on mileage? How are you covered today?
No, if I've used my personal vehicle, like on trips, it's usually part of that. Part of the request for that budget for that trip.
Okay.
So
If you have to go out and do a pool inspection, you don't charge You're
I
not
haven't
part of
turned in for any of that, but I haven't done,
what- I
I
think
haven't
that's
been
what
out in
the
a lot
question
in the
was.
field.
Okay. I want to make sure you're not personally funding government business either, so that's,
And he is. That's,
Yeah.
That's the answer.
So.
Commissioners, anything else, or? I know we've talked about the dog bites a lot recently, and it's a huge issue, but this, not getting our restaurants inspected on a timely basis is a huge issue too. I don't think any of us want to go eat in an establishment that's not being inspected accordingly and in due process and on time.
Rodney, this may be kind of a goofy question, but I don't know the answer, so I'm
Okay.
going to ask it.
Go ahead.
Have you looked at, or is it even a possibility of part-time help? Like to help, come in to help with get these inspections caught up or stay ahead of them, and if that is feasible, then you're looking at, you're cheaper on your salaries and, you're not paying the benefits. It's just not as much cost. Have you ventured that way?
I have not looked for part-time. I know that I have looked at some inspection of the company like BV to do things, but it's very expensive.
Okay.
You got to be certified to do a lot of those.
Yeah, and I know, and I didn't know if there was like, people that had retired and then they get tired of sitting at home, they want to go work a few hours a week or whatever. I didn't know if there was a niche for that or not, so.
I haven't, I'm not aware of anybody that's looking for part-time that has the credentials.
Okay.
Anything else? Thank you, Rodney. Richard Hill. And David Jones.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good to see you, Richard.
You bet. Good to be here. I'm requesting 3 changes from last year's budget. The hourly employees, part-time, I'm asking for an additional $6,500 there, and that will be specifically used for the inspection program that we feel that the Commissioners Court's going to put in. I have an individual who works at the university that has been over there over 20 years in building maintenance, an officer, and he is agreed to, in fact, he is going through the plans examiner class as we speak, so he'll be able to assist us with the inspections and the plans examination.
On the fire inspections?
On the fire inspection
Yeah.
side, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that's, as of right now, through the end of May, we have approximately $10,000 left in our part-time budget. So I'm asking, and I cut it to the bare bones, or tried to, and if any of y'all could tell us how many inspections we're going to be doing after we institute this program, or how many data centers are coming to Hunt County, I could probably get a better handle on it. But 6,500 is what I've asked for, and I think that's a very minimum.
How many part-time do you have now?
Sir?
How many part-time do you have now?
Part-times, we have the cleanup people. I have 2 people that do that. They alternate. And then
That's getting trash out of the roads. And
trash
debris,
out of the
whatever.
roads,
Yeah.
help us with the tire roundup and all those things.
Okay.
Okay. The next item is training in schools, and this is specific for emergency management for Sarah Shea. She would like to attend the TDM annual school conference, and which is about 4.5 days. And so that is specifically, that $2,000 increase is just for the emergency management side and just for whoever has that position. Okay? The third item is
Richard,
cleanup.
is that a requirement for the job or something that you see as a need? I mean, what's?
She gets the CEUs that she's required to have by attending that. So, and another thing about going to the TDM conference, Commissioner Smith, is you network with all the state people. And so you're meeting people, and when you need that help, and you've got a name and a face, and you're also getting the latest updates from TDM. The last item, or the third item I wanted to ask for is the cleanup and tire disposal increasing from 20,000 to 30,000. And like y'all have mentioned earlier, as I've listened to the other department heads, the dog bites and everything else, growth, we have already spent $26,000 this year cleaning up scrap tires. And our budget was 20. So I'm asking to increase that from 20 to 30. And as the county grows, we've never seen anything like the amount of junk, scrap, tires that we're getting called from commissioners, our citizens, and they know that we do this, so they'll call and say, hey, there's on 3215, there's 6 tires thrown out in the ditch. And so that is, besides the tire roundup, we pick up tires every week. And of course, we also get rid of all the commissioners' tires that y'all generate, that y'all ask.
I was hoping you just get rid of the commissioners.
Oh, no. Just the tires that
Better cost
generate.
savings. So Richard, whenever, when you go from 20 to 30 on the tire disposal, is that because of a volume increase or because the
Volume.
process of disposal's gone up?
Cost of both, Commissioner. Glad you made that point. I left that out. I remember when to fill up an 18-wheeler trailer with junk tires, it was $800. Okay, now we've got them at $1,500, and we have one company in Hunt County, and we've helped them a lot. We've built a relationship on it, and they're at $1,500. But when they went to do Kaufman counties, their bid to Kaufman County was $4,500 per trailer. And they told us, they said, we live here, we work here, y'all have been good to us. And so this year we got them for $1,500. So.
If I may, their original quote to us when we were talking to them was $2,500 for us, for $4,500 for Kaufman. But the longer we kept them on the phone and kept schmoozing them, they dropped it to $1,500.
And
How many trailers did we fill up a couple of months ago at the roundup?
well, and I forgot to ask you, do you remember how many?
We made 22 trips.
22 trips times 2. Okay, and we filled up 5 trailers. 5 trailers. So that was a 1-day. Well, actually, we're open from 8 in the morning. We open the gates. People start lining up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning because we have people out there. And at 12 noon, if you're in line, you will get dumped and taken care of. So the cutoff is 12, but there's been years when we finished at 3, 2:30, things like that.
I know after this last time, I had three separate calls asking if it could be done more often during the year.
That's the biggest thing we have, people wanting us to do more. And as I said, and we do pick up year-round. That's the people that illegally dump in our road ditches and everything.
If we did more of them, would we have less in our road ditches, maybe?
Well, Judge, I'm hoping that by having that we are picking up less. I don't have the statistics to prove it, but we give everyone, Hunt County resident, our own land in Hunt County. We monitor who's coming in. And like I said,
I've been there.
We turn some people away because we, David Jones, Julie, and people that work here, we can spot a Dallas tire dealer, or as we say, we can smell them when they drive up.
Did we restrict the number of tires that they can drop?
25 per person.
Per person, okay.
25.
That's a lot.
25 per person.
Wow.
And of course, our farmers and our agricultural people, you know, we get some big tires.
I
And
bet.
it's because of help from the commissioners that we're even able to unload them and pick them up and everything. if it wasn't for the county equipment out there assisting us, we got some tires that probably weigh 400 pounds. And what about those big tracks that come off the tractors? Then the fourth thing, which is entirely up to y'all, I know that David Jones has been working with Commissioner Money. It's to
Monroe.
institute the fire inspections, and that is the fourth thing on the budget. And I'll let David talk on that if y'all have any questions. I know he's worked with Commissioner Money, and they've came up with a figure of $18,000 to institute this. And as I go back and say one time on my hourly employees, 6,500 increase, is that going to cover all the plans examination?
Who knows?
We don't know. This is going to be a wait and see.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
One of the things that I think has changed, the bare bones number that I gave you initially, which was slightly under 10,000, a change of mind or perspective that I've had. I've gotten a lot of calls lately involving plans, and plans examination are one of the more time-consuming and mental fatiguing aspects of the fire inspection. And I think I grossly underestimated the time that we would need to do that. A case that came up, we assisted West Tawakoni in some of their work, and we're being challenged by an owner, and he's wanting to know exactly where some of this stuff is coming from. But while he's doing that, he's hired an engineer, and the engineer is sending us the plans. And since we started working with West Tawakoni, they're kind of getting the benefit. It's like one agency assisting another. That's going to take a large volume of hours to look at those plans for, well, it's the wagon wheel, and it's got a lot of problems. It's huge. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that place. So it's almost like a whole new renovation that you have to go through and look at it all. So we've included, for a total price now, we're asking for $18,000 on that. And I've dealt a lot with Commissioner Money and Commissioner Monroe. Both of them have worked with me real tightly on this. And one of the reasons we're asking for this much more is because of the things that are unforeseen. It's like, I don't know how many of y'all have done housework or automotive work where you've got a task in front of you to remodel the bathroom, or you're going to rebuild a motor, and once you get into it, you find all the other reasons you got to go back to the parts store. You got to go back to Lowe's. You got more stuff you got to get once you get into it, even when you know what you're doing. And in this case, this is new. So we're trying to plan for the contingency of some things that will crop up, whether it's training, whether it's other equipment that might be needed. So that's our justification for asking for $18,000.
So it's some increase in cost beyond just the manpower to do the job, because that's a fixed cost, right? At least you're not asking to add a body, because you're working 2,080 hours a year, whether you're doing this or something else, right?
Correct.
So this is ancillary things that might go with it cost-wise.
That's involved in this. It's not all there is to it. There may be some other hardware aspects, things like measuring equipment, some electronic things for reading power output, looking for neutral grounds, or if there's things are improperly wired, things for checking for a ground fault circuit interrupter, what's the actual power coming out, so we can check all of that. There may be some involved in when you're checking fire alarms, smoke alarms, alarming systems, things of that nature. Some of it I haven't had a call for yet. I don't think we're going to get in the business, although it's part of fire inspection, to look for the flow rate of water at a fire hydrant. We don't have any true fire hydrants outside the major cities. We do have a project coming on that I've been involved with related to a data center, and they've got to meet those the fire flow rates. So they're building a tank with pumps that'll be able to provide it for that data center. So they'll have on-site storage center. But What we're requiring them to do is provide certification that it meets the minimum fire code requirements, including fire flow tests.
So they would fight fire from their own water stores on site?
The firemen would use that hookup and use it, yes.
Partially,
Right.
because it's going to run out, because it's just a storage facility.
Well, and that's the problem too, is they can meet the minimum requirements, but anytime you have on-site energy storage systems, which are the lithium-based batteries, and it doesn't matter which technology of lithium it is, once it's on fire, it's super hot. The lithium iron phosphate doesn't catch fire nearly as easy as the plain old lithium ion. Both of those can get temperatures well over 2,000 degrees. And sometimes spraying that with water causes it to dissociate, and then you get oxygen and hydrogen, and you're feeding the fire instead of putting it out. You've got to be able to deluge it to try and cool it down to take the chemical reaction down. But there's a whole lot of issues with all of that.
David, on
Are we
this,
setting, go ahead.
on this $18,000 that you guys are asking for, obviously, is there going to be some fees that's going to be associated with this to try to recoup some of this money?
Absolutely. We're working on a fee schedule right now, and I can tell you that we're looking at least 5 other jurisdictions and trying to compile one that's easy to read. Some of them will stack depending on what's involved, because there may be several permits that might be required for any one particular industrial or commercial business. And we're trying to make it where it'll be easy to read and see what you're doing. I know that Kaufman County is sharing with us on some of the stuff where y'all had asked us to talk to them. They had a very large, major one that had several things that stacked, and for their rates and what they charged, it was a $55,000 permit fee.
Have you checked with the city of Greenville and see what they charge, or they do them?
I have not checked with them yet.
I assume they do, I think they do fire inspections.
They do.
They do.
One of the things that happens with fire inspections that I'm finding is a real common thing is on the annual inspection, there's usually not a fee for an annual inspection. Now, if you find a fault that's going to require a return visit, then there is one for that reinspection. But there's not one for the annual ones. Now, there is always one for the initial inspection or any inspections as the thing progresses. Like there may be, when we did the work for the one down there in Quinlan for the Tractor Supply Company, we ended up making 3 trips out there, but it was for the different stages as those things went along. And that's kind of normal, and you could also charge for each one of those visits.
I will say the City of Commerce last year in '25, their council approved to start doing the fire inspections. And we're going to start charging based on the square footage of the building. And so like our building, the JP Constable building there, it's $50 for an annual inspection at that location. They just started it this year. They gave time for everybody to get everything somewhat up to code and be prepared for it, but City of Commerce is now charging for an annual inspection.
Okay. Yeah, because it seems to be some, I know Grayson County doesn't charge for annuals, some others do. That's something we have to sort out. We'll make, in my mind, what I plan to submit is a large menu that you folks can look at and pick and choose and say, we want to do this one, oh, don't want to do this one. I'd rather give you more that you can choose from than just say, here's our recommendation, this or nothing. I'm not in that position. I want to be able to give you everything there is to choose from, and then you can decide. And you're the guidance policy for the county, and that's why we need to get it before you to figure out how we're going to do this going forward.
David, would you explain for the public the inspections we're talking about, residential, commercial, industrial?
Okay, we're looking at commercial and industrial inspections. We're not looking at residential inspections.
Okay. Just want to make sure
Correct.
Yeah.
So these will be for any new business or industrial commercial that's coming into the county. If one's already in business, the only way that they would probably fall under us, what we're recommending is if we get a complaint and we go in on a complaint, because to go in after somebody who's already in business, I'm looking for guidance, but what I got from the commission last time we talked about this is that's going to be on as presented basis.
What about a retrofit for commercial?
Okay, there are some things in the code that it says if it's substantial, which is kind of undefined, or 50% of the value of the business to remodel it, or if it changes use, like say you've got a building here that's been used as a warehouse and somebody wants to turn it into a restaurant. Once you change its occupancy type, that kicks in the need for a permit inspection, so that that's a new business essentially, even if it's the same people owning it that decide, I'm tired of doing a warehouse, I want to do a restaurant, same people. It's a whole new
Well,
type.
they'll really get tired if they do that.
Isn't that the truth?
I want to make a comment to Commissioner Harrison. You brought up commerce. I actually sent
Walk over to the mic, Richard.
I actually sent one of the staff over to work all day with their inspector, Gabe Whitkoff, and as we were studying what software, what hardware, and so we went around with them doing all the inspections and everything.
Good deal.
And it looks like they've done their homework and got it set up pretty well.
They implemented it in 25 and gave themselves a year to get all the software implemented and understand it and all that. That way, when they started beating pavement, they knew what was going on and what needed to be done with it. I think April is when they started doing the actual inspections and charging businesses for everything.
And I know, as I said, David Jones has done a lot of work on this and studied it and with the various other counties and really tried to hit on that commercial, large type use, which we anticipate that Hunt County may get. I hate to single out data centers or crypto mining buildings, but that's where we've really been trying to put the study in.
Right.
It's what these counties are charging, they're all being built in unincorporated areas.
So, which was the question I was going to ask. We're doing the West Tawakoni, we're going to do all the incorporated smaller towns, or we going to get contracts with them, or what are we looking at with that?
Okay, in some cases, you've got, like Wolf City, they adopted a totally different fire code. They're really responsible for that. We don't do theirs.
Okay.
So you've got 4 or 5 cities that don't have the same fire code. It's up to them to find somebody to do that. If we have an MOU with a city that doesn't have one, then we'd be glad to do that. If we get called in, we're not looking at that unless that is presented as an interlocal agreement of some sort.
Okay.
I think what also needs to be said is that when we go out and we do inspections, and say we do the annual inspections and start picking up some of these other people and going with them, you have to look at what is the age of the business, when did they come in that particular type, because the code that was in place at the time is the code by which they're governed. So if we're going by the National Fire Protection Association, which the state of Texas has, and that's what we have, if I go into a business that's been open since 2003 and they've never changed, I have to apply whatever the NFPA code was at 2003. The only time they can be required to be brought up to the new code is for a remodel, or if they have such a huge egregious problem. Like say you go in and the whole wiring system is just trash. They're still operating. And you're going to require them to change that to bring it up safe. You're going to have to require them to bring it up to the current code.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Any questions for any of us? Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
You got mine.
All right, Commissioner's Office, David?
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Presenting the budget for the Commissioner's Office. Since it's like the smallest budget in the county, we didn't have much that we could take out of it. We did lower our operating supplies $250, and we lowered our expendable equipment $250, so we've lowered the overall budget $500. I would like to request, the only employee in there was Brittany, and I would request that she gets the COLA that everybody else gets across the county. So.
Okay.
Any questions?
Just curious, what's the total budget?
Don't know yet.
Well, historical anyway.
93,619. So we lowered it to almost right at 93,000.
Thank you, David.
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's all our presentations. Any future discussion or?
I'd like to add one thing for future discussion. So, Precinct 3, we've been operating, but largely because we know we're running a deficit this year, trying to, not backfill everybody, see how far we could get, and we've been running pretty light on manpower. We've reached a point where we're starting to fall behind, so we're going to be replacing some of the folks that are no longer with us. And one of the things that I was looking at, and I believe Commissioner Money's even in the same boat, short some folks as well. We've been having conversations about the road crew, since the day I walked in here, and I know that everybody doesn't take full use of it. And I'm about to go make offers to folks to come in, and I really wanted to kind of put out on the table for the commissioners, whether it's discussion now or at a future date, if we're looking at changing our mind on how we use the road crew, or dissolving that even, I don't see a reason to go out and hire people from outside the county when we have existing employees there. I believe that budget's over $300,000. That would be a significant savings, and it would be filling roles that already exist elsewhere in the county. I'm putting everybody on the spot here. That's why I say if it's something you'd like to discuss or we can entertain for at a future time, I just think it's something we should consider before we make a move to try and save money, on the road crew versus hiring people that aren't employees today.
Well, let's put it a historical perspective before we get into that discussion. We put a road crew on in 2021. What was going on? Of course, COVID was going on. The economy was bad. We couldn't find anybody to hire, and all the commissioners were shorthanded. It so happened that precinct 3 and 4 really, but 4 mostly, was getting all kind of applicants to come to work, but they wouldn't drive to any of the other precincts to work. And if they were willing to work for a amount of money we were willing to pay them. So the idea came up to get the road crew that would be shared with all the precincts, and they'd report to precinct 1. And that way we got more work, we got additional work done for all the precincts, and we got manpower that we needed that we couldn't seem to hire. And so it's been around for a few years, and it's time to, as y'all are pointing out, time to take another look at it and see if it's still practical, still necessary. And so that's what you're really talking about. Yes, do we want to change that direction or change those assignments to make it work better for us than what it currently is? So.
And my whole reason for bringing it up is I just wanted to kind of see what the court's temperature was on it before I start hiring people.
Well, the only concern I have is just making sure we have a place for the employees to go to. And I understand you and Commissioner Money possibly could use some help up there at y'all's precincts. And obviously these guys have been working for all, all 4 of us, so they know the ins and outs and how each precinct works. So it sounds like we have a place for them to go to. I know we haven't used, they're in my precinct right now. We've got some stuff for them to do, but we haven't been using them a whole lot. I believe Commissioner Monroe's probably along the same line. He hadn't used them just a whole lot either. 1 and 3 have been using them quite a bit. So it sounds like you guys do need some extra assistance up there. And as long as we take care of the employees, then I'm good at looking at trying to move that, because I know you're needing to hire some people as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not opposed to looking at that either.
I can take all the equipment or most of the equipment, and definitely.
I'd like one thing out of it.
Definitely one employee I'm positive would want to come. I could use 2 employees, but I know you can use 2 employees also.
I think the point is there's some details here that we could work out.
Yep.
And
I mean, that's-
whether it's equipment, whether it's people, that, we need to try and make a recommendation.
I agree, we need to dissolve the division or whatever we're gonna call it, but I don't wanna see anybody lose their job. I don't think any of us do, and we have a solution to that, to backfill with one of y'all's precincts, so I don't have a problem with it. I haven't used the group in almost 2 years, so it's.
And I want
it's
to
been
thank
a-
you for that, by
no-
the way.
Yeah, so.
I think the one thing that we've got to look at, or you guys got to look at, is making sure that you've got the money in your budget to absorb 1 or 2 of the employees, 3 employees, whatever it is. Just making sure y'all can absorb them in there. If there's anything we need to do to help out to make that happen.
So to avoid a quorum conversation, since Commissioner Money and I both have a kind of a need that we're trying to fill without, wasting money, maybe he and I could get together, kind of come up with a proposal to let everybody else see and see if it makes sense.
I'm good with that.
So Commissioner Harrison and Monroe don't need people?
I don't, I'm full.
So then you're gonna be talking about people for 2 commissioners, but then you're talking about equipment that could go to all 4 of you, or?
Well, that's what
What's
we-
the narrative, how you gonna narrow the
We'll
scope?
we'll make a
they're
recommendation
going-
of what we
Okay.
do. That Mary will probably have to help us with some of the accounting of what we can and can't do there as well, so.
Yeah.
But I think we got, a couple of trucks and a excavator? and-
Yeah,
and
two,
then-
2 dump trucks, an excavator, and a pickup truck.
and pickup trucks.
When y'all are evaluating all that, look real hard at putting a lot of extra money over there in precinct 2.
Okay. I mean, they will.
We're gonna give you the excavator and you can pay for it.
What is it, how is anybody looked at what's owed on it, or is it already paid for? It's all
I
paid?
think it's all paid for except the pickup. Again, they
It's all
can
paid
get, they
for.
can get with Mary and discuss all that and figure out where we're at.
Okay. Well, everybody good with all that? Anything else we want to talk about?
Lunch.
When will y'all present that back to us, Commissioner Smith? Because we probably need to make a decision on that pretty quick, don't we?
Yeah, because otherwise I need to hire. So, when's our next available meeting? What do we got here? Next court?
Well,
I'd have to have that on the agenda by tomorrow, wouldn't I?
you'd have to post today for Friday, but Wednesday for Tuesday.
We got next court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's put it on for the next court and then we'll just make ourselves have it ready.
So when do we want to have the rest of the budgets presented? When do y'all?
Just put budget on the next court, and we can discuss budget.
Right, we need to leave it on there for every meeting. But do we want to call people in, wait and see what our agenda looks like, and maybe call a few people in on Tuesday for presentation of budgets? Is it? Okay, well, we probably don't want to do that. Yeah, that's right, it's 3 weeks.
Yeah,
So we need to have another meeting here pretty quick.
yeah, just time.
So y'all want to do it this Friday, or would you rather do it next Monday and Tuesday, or what's? We need to set another time because we still got a lot of people to get in. And then we got to get down to the nuts and bolts of what we're going to do.
You can do it again Monday, 13th, not this one.
Or the 16th, which is next Thursday.
Yeah, Monday or the 16th, that Thursday would be good.
Preferences?
I'd prefer the 16th, but, I'll work around whatever, it doesn't matter.
I don't care.
I'm good on dates.
Next week, the only thing, the 15th, I've got a lunch speech I got to do.
But you can do 16th?
16th.
Yeah, I can do the 16th.
Everybody okay with 16th?
Yep.
Okay. We'll post another meeting for more of the departments on the 16th. And then we may talk about some of it if we want to get some of them in on Tuesday. We'll just look at the agenda.
Yeah. can do
We might get 1 or 2 in or something, get a few out of the way. All right, anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 12:17.